Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tipped Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my two semi-spooky co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only, Uncle Sam.
Hello.
I like the delayed reaction there. You just pulled a Mitch McConnell for a second there.
I did, didn't I? I was trying to figure out where I was at.
And to my left, it is our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Does Uncle Sam come to the Halloween party?
No.
Whatever.
Wait, there's a Halloween party?
It's invite only. And behind the computer, absolutely just mustarding up his own wiener, it is Bruce the Tugboat Venditti.
What's going on?
I had to try and get one on the fly there. I apologize. That was awful. Well, we're back. It was another great weekend.
Bruce the Hairline Venditti.
Who's there?
At least I have hair.
Yeah, right now.
Right now.
Uncle Sam, how's your weekend?
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream.
I mean, we don't even get it. I want a little insight into your weekend. I mean, how was your weekend?
I don't want anybody to know my weekends. How about that?
Fuck us and
Yeah, fuck all
we
y'all.
think.
How about that?
Zolo, how's your weekend? You traveled outside of the obvious bad.
It was good. I had a nice time with great family and great people. And DC is one of my favorite places. DC is by far, I don't know when the last time you guys were there, but you could do everything there. It's the best for sightseeing. It's incredible for food. It's easy to get around. It was good. I had a good weekend.
Good.
Got a little sunburned.
Just a little sun-kissed. Bruce?
You can't tell through the thing.
Bruce, anything good?
Did a pedal bar. It was a good time. Got a little drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Did you fall off the pedal
We
bike?
counted it throughout the whole
Fall
night.
off the pedal
It was
bar?
Roughly 300 beers consumed by everybody. So,
Wow.
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 He's got a plaque at Shores Inn.
No.
He didn't get the plaque?
I missed mine by 11 beers.
Yeah, you suck.
I know.
That's because you were gone for fucking 2.5 weeks. He would have had it. He had it in a bag.
I got to go. So I
I
guess
don't give Shores in credit.
I'm going to Shores Inn next Sunday for a birthday situation.
Are you going to see if they're honor your...
Well, I'm going to see if they still have my list.
Oh.
And if I can finish off the 11 while I'm there, I might just do
Oh, you have the beers around the world?
I'm 11 away.
Damn.
I've had my list has been sitting there dormant for 2 years.
That's
and I'm 11
interesting.
away.
I didn't know that. I know someone recently that completed it.
Do you know cousin Jack's on there twice?
No fucking way. He's a beer guy?
He's on there twice.
Shout out to Cousin Jack. It's the pitcher. Shout out.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Ian's on there.
Ian, I believe it.
Ian's on there.
I think I knew that with Ian.
Jack did it twice already, though. It's a lot of beer.
I didn't know Jack was that big into beers. Also, didn't he just turn 21 like 2 or 3 years ago?
He's 25, I think.
He's a
4 years ago, he did that with the pandemic. He knocked out all those beers.
This was like 2 years ago. We would go every night and just
he's
drink
only
10
year
beers a
older
night.
than me, right?
I didn't know that.
2 years?
2 years older than you.
2 years older?
Yeah. Anyways, should we get into some football or anybody else have anything here to start off with? Anything exciting? You got anything exciting coming up?
Sorry?
You got anything exciting coming up? What's going on in the life of Uncle Sam?
Nothing. Let's talk football.
You're a closed book, you know that? Just an absolute closed book.
Let's talk football. Mike?
Zolo, you got any dinner plans tonight or no? What's for dinner?
No, but I'm starving.
You are.
I'm starving. I'm fresh off of a plane. I ate my way through the Sky Lounge at Reagan International this morning. Or Reagan National. It's not an international airport.
It's just national
It's
now.
just national. They don't go internationally. They only go in the States. There's airports that are like that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Skybridge.
Yeah.
Skybridge. The Skybridge. Anyways,
It's like LaGuardia is not an international airport.
no shit.
You can only travel domestically. If you want to travel internationally in New York, you got to
JFK?
go to Newark or JFK.
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, well, let's get into the news. Get right to it. Breaking news literally right now. The Titans are trading safety Kevin Byard to the Eagles. Tennessee trading pieces away and Howie Roseman making a big move. I guess the Eagles have been calling around looking for safety help for the last 2 weeks, and they finally get their guy in Kevin Byard from the Titans.
That means Blankenship is going to be out a while.
Yeah, that
Obviously,
I think so.
if that's why they
well,
did
but
that.
see, it said they've been calling since before Blankenship's injury.
Oh, wow.
Maybe they were looking to move
Yeah.
on from Terrell Edmonds. I don't know, but either way, that's happening as we speak right now. Chiefs Nick Bolton,
Oh, he's on my
linebacker
team.
Nick Bolton,
He's on my team.
dislocated his wrist during Sunday night's win.
He's my best defensive player in that league, too.
Yeah. They expect him to miss at least a couple weeks. So that is a big piece of, honestly, one of the best defensive playmakers the Chiefs have, if not the best. We're going to talk about this game, I think, quite a bit later on. But with his win over Buffalo yesterday, Bill Belichick became the third coach in NFL history with 300 career regular season wins, joining Hall of Famers Don Shula with 328 and George Halas with 318. So Belichick now...
It won't be long before he passes both of them up.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Mac Jones is back? Is that what you're going to say?
Well,
We'll get that.
I look at it this way. I don't know if it's how bad Buffalo's looked the last 2 weeks or just how ready New England was for them.
Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts played the second half of Sunday night's win over the Dolphins with a knee brace on
Yeah, he
his
took a
left
couple
leg.
big shots yesterday. Yeah.
That's interesting. Still came through in the
Couldn't
clutch.
stop him.
This is going to be a really interesting one. And actually, it's a nice analytic here. In the 4 games that Taylor Swift has been in attendance
Oh, God.
for the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce is averaging 108 yards per game. In the games that she was not at, he's averaging 46 and a half.
Get the fuck out of football.
She influences the game in multiple ways.
What do you make of that?
It's a fucking circus sideshow is what it is.
I mean,
That's what it is. It's a
numbers are
circus.
numbers.
The NFL is trying to destroy their own sport.
Well,
The
so
entire fan base is not okay. They hate it. So, like, why don't they just listen to us?
Because they're not going to listen to the fan base. They don't give a fuck. It's about money. It's got nothing to do with the fan base. You think they give a fuck about the game or the? They don't care.
Thinking about
Sarah-
about money.
Sarah just texted me a second ago, and she said 87 plus 13 equals 100. It's his number plus her number, essentially 13's her big number. So 87 plus 13 equals 100.
and she did. She had a number 87 beaded charm bracelet on yesterday that we don't know if cannot confirm.
I don't want to talk about Taylor Swift.
Cannot confirm if Travis made her the bracelet or not, but she had it on.
Whatever. Listen, I don't give a fuck what Mr. Pfizer does, and I don't care what she does either.
Amen. The Miami Dolphins have been selected as this year's in-season Hard Knocks team.
Love it.
I absolutely love it.
I still think that yesterday has a good shot to be a Super Bowl preview. The only team that I think can challenge Miami is Baltimore, maybe Kansas City. So let's say there's 3 teams in each conference that you can pick. Like, I think we got one of the teams that's going to take a crack at it this year.
100%.
Yeah,
It'll be cool.
I
to
agree
see.
with that.
And you got some good stories. You're going to get A-Chain coming back, Jalen Ramsey coming back, Tua's MVP candidacy. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited to see Tyreek Hill up close.
I can't wait to see
Jalen
Tyreek
Phillips
Hill.
finally came back yesterday.
Yeah. Oh,
He was effective.
And
First
Mike
game back.
McDaniel is literally like the most intriguing.
Human being ever.
Yeah, like his press conferences
Oh,
are
he's a
gold
weirdo.
every
He's a
week.
fucking weirdo.
We get to get him up close. We get to see.
He's almost Mark Davis-ish.
Yeah.
Just like Mark Davis.
I
Weirdo.
honestly,
No, I don't think he's weird. I think
Oh,
he's
I
out.
do.
I think he's great.
I do.
Personally,
I
I love
think
what he
he's weirdo.
says.
I'm going to say this. I think I'm most excited to see Mike McDaniel, and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill said when he retires, he wants to become a porn star.
He'll start with Mike McDaniels.
Bears head coach Matt Eberflus said that Justin Fields will once again be considered doubtful for Sunday night's game against the Chargers.
They don't
due to a
need him.
dislocated thumb.
They don't need him.
Not need him.
Play pageant till the wheels fall off. Don't fuck around and switch it now. You just beat a team and you beat them decisively with a rookie. Don't change anything. From what I seen out of that kid, he throws the ball better than Justin Fields. Don't change it.
And a piece of news for tonight: 49er star running back Christian McCaffrey will play Monday night against the Vikings. So I will
Stupid.
say,
I wouldn't even play
I'm
him
gonna
if I
take
was
credit.
49ers.
I said on Friday that I had it on an inside source that Christian McCaffrey would be playing tonight.
Anyway.
Just saying.
Off air, would you expose this source to me later?
I will. It's a good one.
Expose yourself later.
It's a doozy. Okay. Shall we get into what happened?
Shall we?
Oh, and did anybody see Blueface Baby at the Rams
He
game?
turned SoFi into a
that?
strip club.
Blueface Baby is a rapper.
Oh God.
He had a suite at the Rams game, an on-field suite, and essentially he filled it with women, and then had all of the women stripped down to their thongs, and was throwing $100 bills all over the suite like he was at the strip club,
That's some good wholesome childhood fun right there. Huh?
and then proposed to his girlfriend right after. I guess.
Whatever.
If you want, the video is on
child.
Barstool just posted it, so you guys can check it out there. Anyways, moving on. Let's get into the
Garbage.
week.
The new
Garbage.
girlfriend, right? His other
Trash.
girlfriend left him.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't
Trash.
really follow it, but it was, I guess, a semi.
Shame on the NFL for putting that shit on TV.
Whatever,
That's all
dude.
I gotta say.
Whatever. Does it surprise you, dude? Told you, the NFL are whores.
Moving on. So we're gonna start with the elephant in the room. The Detroit Lions headed to Baltimore, and things didn't really end all that well. Baltimore just. I don't even know what to say. It was dismantled, the Detroit Lions, 38-6 yesterday. Obviously, Zola was there, so he has a lot of insight. Uncle Sam,
I want to hear what Mike has to say.
Uncle Sam's very disappointed. But I think I'm going to start off by saying, and I'm not going to say too much because I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm not in panic mode. I'm going to say that. I'm not in panic mode.
I agree.
I don't think it's SOL. I think that it was a similar situation to the Miami-Buffalo game when Miami came in flat and unprepared.
you.
That's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to give it to Zola.
So I'm so happy you said that. That's just in time for 5 things. And that is thing number 1.
5 things.
That is thing number 1. Listen, 5 things. Thing number 1 is yesterday said a lot more about the Baltimore Ravens than it did about the Detroit Lions. And it sounds like you agree with me,
1,000%.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Baltimore, if you guys remember when the schedule came out way back in June or May or June, was my pick to win the AFC. I had Baltimore in the playoffs. As soon as Lamar Jackson signed, I thought they had a great offseason. I thought they had a great draft. As someone that was in the stadium yesterday and very close to Ravens fans, the sentiment that they had was that this is a team that they think they have something good with, the fans. They think they have a really good football team. But they have been waiting for, number 1, a signature win, and number 2, a win where they could see it top to bottom in all 3 phases. And John Harbaugh, he steals signs just like his brother. That's my excuse for yesterday. Is John Harbaugh? No, I'm kidding. John Harbaugh's team was extremely prepared. Todd Monken's offense was flawless. They saw what the Lions did 2 years ago in defending Lamar. And the plan was, we want to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. He said, watch this. And Lamar had a lot of bad throws yesterday. He threw a lot of balls away. Even the balls that he threw away, the receivers were wide open on. And it's because the Lions spent a lot of resources just trying to lock in Lamar. Okay? Number 1. Number 2, the other side of the ball, Mike McDonald, former Michigan defensive coordinator, knew exactly how to dismantle Jared Goff. You pressure him. You pressure him and you keep pressuring him and you keep pressuring him. And if you do it quick enough, and they have the pieces to do it quick enough between Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, and they blitz their corners and their safeties flawlessly, Kyle Hamilton. If you keep blitzing Jared Goff, he sees ghosts, okay? And if you do it quick enough, he's going to throw the ball away, and that's what was happening. It was uncharacteristic Goff. It wasn't MVP Goff. It wasn't a Goff that we were used to because he was taking – I don't know. He just when the receivers can't get separation downfield and you don't have enough time to throw it to begin with, that's a really good recipe for success defensively. So I just think the Ravens were extremely well prepared. I don't think the Lions were well prepared at all. That's a problem in itself. That being said, every time the Lions have a game where they're not well prepared, they come out and they follow it up and they come back and they look really good. And I'm expecting that this week because that's what great teams do. Number 1. Number 2, it's very common for good teams to have bad games. When the Bucks won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever that was, they were blown out at home against the Saints 38-3 one day. Very similar scores the other day. Very similar. I think that the Lions will do enough to correct this. I'm not panicking. Does this take them out of you're probably the best team in the NFC conversation? Oh, 100%. I think they have work to do. The division is horrible, though. I think they're going to run away with the division. I think they're going to finish with a top 3 record in the conference. And I do think that they're a very good team. And to the people jumping off of the bandwagon, same old Lions, coming back to earth, this and that, please watch what they do the next couple weeks. This was the hardest game left on their schedule.
100%.
This was the hardest game left on their schedule. They laid an egg. It is what it is. They have all of the resources to come back and look a lot better. Uncle Sam, do you have anything to say before I get to thing 2?
Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, can I throw one piece in here?
Please.
I have the exact same sentiment because if you look at the Lions' schedule, I still think they finished 3rd in the NFC. I still think they win the division handily. I still think there's another couple losses in there, 2 max, 1-2 max. But from Friday till now, for me, the end of the season didn't change, right? The where we see them at right now did, but the result didn't change for me.
I'm with you. I agree. Number 2, the first one was kind of mixed. It was kind of not good nor bad. Number 2 is a negative. Number 2 on Zolo's 5 things for the Lions' loss to the Ravens this week was the pass protection was not good for the first time in a long time. And a lot of that has to do with not being able to establish the run in the first half and missing David Montgomery. I thought that they could not run the ball effectively. It took a second. I don't like what I saw from the highest graded guys on the teams were actually Sewell and Decker. The tackles were good. It was the interior where a lot of the pressure was coming in as opposed to the ends. A lot of the pressure on Goff came in from the middle, and that's a problem. You need to get your guards back on track for this week. Thing number 3 of Zolo's 5 things was, and this is something that's near and dear to my heart because it's something that I've noticed for over a decade, and it's unfair to compare past Lions teams to this one, but it's shown in the Aaron Glenn's regime as well. The Lions cannot stop running quarterbacks. They can't. It's been going on for a while. They had the pieces to do it this time, albeit without C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Brian Branch didn't have his best game yesterday. I said it on the show Friday. I said, look for this to be the Jack Campbell coming out party. Not only did Jack Campbell not come out, but he looked horrible. He looked lost. He looked out of place. He looked confused. And it trickled down to the rest of the linebackers. Derek Barnes didn't have a great game, and Alex Anzalone had an uncharacteristically bad game, especially after the last couple weeks that he's had. This has been a problem for a long time. And again, what their game plan was yesterday was, we're not going to let Lamar beat us by getting out of the pocket. He still beat you getting out of the pocket. He still drifted away. And on that one, the TD pass, I think it was to Nelson Aguilar, who sucks, by the way, and you made him look like a world beater. On the TD pass to Nelson Aguilar, do you guys remember Lamar was scrambling back and forth? He was going back and forth. Okay, so that was the longest time for a quarterback to throw the ball. It was like 9.2 something seconds. It was the longest time the quarterback had to throw a ball in a game in 6 years, since 2017. If you can't get pressure from all around in that point in time, you're not doing a good enough job on the pass rush. And Hutchinson was getting pressure all day yesterday. He was getting held. Aleem McNeil was getting held. I thought Hutchinson was great. He just couldn't finish. When you're playing a rushing quarterback, the pressure needs to come from both sides, okay? Which leads me to thing number 4. I think the Lions are going to spend the next 9 days as not only buyers, but intense buyers. And a name at the top of the list, you're going to love this, Uncle Sam, because you're the one that brought him up a couple weeks ago. And there's a writer from Yahoo that's actually linking the Lions to this guy, is Brian Burns. They're going to get an elite pass rusher, I think, or a good pass rusher to pair with Hutchinson.
God, would I love
so
that.
They could seal the deal on these pass rushing downs. I think that's going to happen. I genuinely think it wasn't the difference in the game yesterday because it doesn't really explain what the offense did wrong. But I think the difference defensively yesterday is that Lamar had so much time to throw. And eventually those receivers were getting open. It wasn't a great game for Sutton. It didn't help losing Jerry Jacobs. But if you're able to seal the deal on the pass rush, which they were not able to do yesterday, you're going to have an easy time defensively. Good defenses, they start in the trenches and trickle back. everyone benefits. The linebackers, the corners, the safeties, whatever. It makes a corner's job a lot easier if they don't have to cover the guy they're covering for as long. So I think they're going to make a trade. I think it's going to be Brian Burns. I think they're going to get an elite D-end. I also think they're going to look at running back. I wouldn't be shocked if they look at cornerback based on the injuries. And there's a lot of really good corners available. Jalen Johnson had a pick for Chicago yesterday. The Giants have 2 available corners, with Adoree Jackson being one of them. You can take a crack at Pat Surtain. We've talked about that. The one positive, though, thing number 5, the one positive from yesterday, though, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say about this, Jahmyr Gibbs. I was at the game. You could say it was garbage time. I disagree. I watched that Ravens defense and their offense play really hard, because nothing invigorates a defense more than trying to get a shutout. So I don't think they wanted Jahmyr Gibbs to score on them. The Lions got him going really good, and the utilization was perfect.
Yep.
They utilized him passing wise, and they got him out. They got him open in the backfield, and they spread the offense out a little bit. And then he eventually got good with running in between the tackles against a pretty good defense. And of course, it's one game. We can't lock it in. Just like we can't lock in J-Mo's one good game last week, because I thought J-Mo was horrible yesterday.
Yeah, that was rough. That drop was awful.
He lost a ball in the end zone at the end of the game, and his ball tracking. If his ball tracking skills are the only problem, that's a story for another time, and I think that's correctable. That being said, Jahmyr Gibbs is the focus here. I was pretty impressed with him. I would like to see more of that, and I would like to see that as his usage. I thought his snap count was perfect. I thought the pass catching was perfect. I thought his in between the tackles running, it took a second to get going. Eventually, it looked great. That was the one positive from yesterday, was Jahmyr Gibbs for me.
All you
Uncle
need
Sam.
is Montgomery to complement that, and you're set.
What'd you think of Jahmyr Gibbs, Uncle Sam?
He looked okay. I mean, he
I
looked
thought
like
he
for
looked great
where they were
yesterday,
at in the game.
personally.
Anybody's going to look good when you're down by 30 fucking points. Okay?
Do you
You're
think
running the football down by 30 points.
Do you think that my take of the defense trying was false? Because I thought
No,
that defense was still balls to the wall at that point.
I thought they got outplayed, outcoached, out everything in that whole game. The offensive line was awful. The defensive line wasn't much better. Your defensive coordinator, for some god-awful fucking reason, has your corners 13 yards off the fucking line of scrimmage, and all they were doing running these short little fucking routes and letting Lamar Jackson do what Lamar Jackson does. He just waited for him to be open and popped him the ball.
Yeah.
And let him run afterwards. Didn't take brain surgery to see what they were doing. This is twice now that the defense still can't cover a tight end. And I said the key to that game would have been Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews torched him.
He did. Mark Andrews.
He
had a very
torched
nice
him.
game.
Mark Andrews, the
He
fullback.
fucking torched him.
The fullback, I don't know his name.
Yeah, Ricard torched him. He didn't have a guy within 20 yards of him. That's a blown assignment. I don't give a fuck. Listen, if you are going to sit there and play a fucking soft zone with your corners 13 yards off the line of scrimmage, you fucking lost against Lamar Jackson.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Go ahead.
I agree with everything you're saying. I have a question for you about the corners.
Yeah.
You think the corners are just bad? Do we think Cam Sutton's just not great?
No,
and was
I don't
benefiting?
think Cam Sutton is bad. Here's the problem. If they were able to get their hands on some of these receivers before they got 5-6 yards down the field, you're not running wide open. These guys were running wide. They were catching the ball with nobody around them because the corners were totally out of position playing this zone. I don't like zone. I don't like it. I don't think they blitzed enough and blitzed from the right area. You're bringing guys from the outside. You're bringing corners. You're bringing safeties. They need to shoot it up the gut, just like Baltimore was doing to them with their two inside guys. I'm not going to make any excuses for Dan Campbell right now, but this is 2 fucking games, national televised games, where they had a chance to set themselves apart from other teams, and they failed once again.
I'm just
and they failed
realizing-
miserably this time.
I'm just realizing, and this is totally excuse, just like John Harbaugh stealing signs, that they're 0-2 with that specific Fox crew. When they're the 1 o'clock national game
Yeah.
with Aaron Andrews, Greg Olson, and who's the commentator?
I don't know.
The play-by-play guy. When they're with that crew, they're 0-2 now, which
You know what? Hey, guess what? You know what? That was an embarrassing performance. The whole fucking team didn't show up. Okay, I'm not only going to blame Dan Campbell on
Jahmyr
this.
Gibbs and Jack Fox, the punter, both showed up, in my opinion.
Well, you know what? I saw 2 other guys that showed up that nobody else seen.
Say it.
Huh?
Who?
Khalif Raymond. He was the only guy that was playing with a little bit of fire out there till he got hurt.
Who's the other guy?
Huh?
Who's the other
Isaiah
guy?
Bugs.
I thought Bugs.
Isaiah Bugs
he
was
made some
stuffing the
plays.
run every time they tried to run at
He
him.
made some plays yesterday up the middle.
Yeah. I didn't hear Lee McNeil's name. I didn't hear fucking anybody's name other than that. To me, it's a fucking red flag. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon, but I'm not jumping on it either. What I've seen out of them is fucking. I seen a team that just was uninspired. They couldn't execute. Jared Goff threw for 300 fucking yards, and guess what? It didn't impress me at all. They had untimely penalties, just letting up bad sacks. The offensive line was supposed to be the strength of this team. They are not the fucking strength of the team. They aren't. They can't pass protect
Listen
for
to me.
shit.
See, now you're going.
I have something to add to that, and
Go
I want to
ahead.
hear what you have to say.
Go
first.
ahead.
You're going a step too far now.
No, I'm not going too
wait,
far.
yeah,
because
okay,
let me
you
tell
are.
you something
You are,
right now.
because-
Without the MVP of this team, they're fucking average at best.
That's false. In every way,
Without
shape, and
David
form.
Montgomery, they're average at best. David Montgomery is the MVP of this team. Without him, they will go
Listen to
nowhere.
me.
Period.
They had David Montgomery for a quarter last week, and they absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball against Tampa. All right, and both of you think Tampa's a division winner. Okay, so at the end of the day,
Listen to me. Atlanta barely squeaked one out against
listen. Now that wasn't a barely squeak out.
Yeah,
we'll
it
get
was.
to that game.
What a
Yeah, it
shit
was.
show that division.
Barely
is.
squeaked
But at
it
the
out,
end of the
bud.
day, you said last week they're going to win the division.
I thought that. I
And then
still
this
think they're going to
week-
win the division.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But and what are you going to do? You're
So
going
you
to win
can't
the
sit here-
division. You're going to have to either go to fucking San Francisco or Philadelphia.
No, you're not.
You're going to get your fucking ass handed.
I'm talking about Tampa. You think
I'm
Tampa?
talking Tampa or Detroit.
Okay,
Talking about
but
both.
hold on, reel it in. You're going to sit here and say without David Montgomery, this team is average at best.
Yes.
That is not, but that's not true.
That is
because they
true.
didn't have David Montgomery last week. They didn't run the ball at all, and they made easy work on both sides of the line of scrimmage against the Tampa team that you think is going to win their division. Okay? So it's not true. All right? Jahmyr Gibbs was extremely effective. It was the
Oh
first
God,
game.
it's effective when it was fucking.
But it
over.
doesn't. Guess what? When you're
it
a
was
rookie,
over.
when you're a rookie, sometimes you get in there in garbage time, and that's what ignites your year.
He needed.
So
he needed that. Play time.
I agree
Needed
1,000%.
Okay.
He needed that garbage time to get in there and get the feel of the game. Jameson Williams, I'm almost
Yeah, that's the big fucking pink elephant in the room right
I'm
there, bud.
almost at the point to say he was a wasted pick. Okay?
He
We're
is.
almost there. But I am
I'm there.
not, I am nowhere near hitting a panic mode. There's no reason to hit the panic mode. All right?
What
We knew.
What do we decide? What do we decipher as panic mode?
For you to sit here and say the
hold
team
on.
is average.
The Detroit Lions will win their division. That's how bad it is. Okay.
This
What I'm telling you to go forward, and to try to get into the fucking playoffs, they're going to get their asses handed to them.
Can I tell you something?
Especially
They're
if
gonna-
David Montgomery's not playing.
Can I tell you something? They're 5-2, and they're probably going to be 6-2 going into the bye. They're well above average. Even if their division
They're
was,
average.
even if their division was closer, 6-2 at midseason is a hell of a record.
their first
That's a 13. That's a
That-
12
we've been
right
shoveled
there.
shit for fucking 40 years here, and we're happy with 6-2. We're happy with 6-2 and 2 blowout fucking losses.
I mean, none of the four of us had them in the Super Bowl this year, unless Bruce
I
may have did. And
I didn't think they would be in the Super Bowl either.
this isn't like a
Nope, that's the
it's-
bandwagon thing. Is to think the Lions are going to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So the whole thing is the Super Bowl, like the NFC Championship talk, didn't even start until a week or two ago. I was just hoping
because
won
they had
the
every
division.
opportunity to take
This is a slow build. This is a slow build towards something great. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Good teams have to build towards it. The Bills, before they won the division that year, people didn't think they were going to the Super Bowl. They said, let's win our division first. And I think good things will come if this team wins the division.
I don't care. I don't care that they lost this game. I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I care about? How they lost.
Can I ask you a question, though?
It was fucking atrocious.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
After last night, you think Miami's average?
No.
Okay, they came out.
Miami's one of the top teams in the league.
Can I-
know that.
But they came out and
You can't compare that.
This is let's look at our picks every single week.
Go ahead.
We have every game we pick every single week. One of us picks the chalk team. One of us picks the favorite, no matter what. If we were to do a 15 or 16 game slate every week and pick them all when all 32 teams are playing, and we picked it chalk every time, we would lose some games. The point of it is, good teams still lose games. The Eagles lost to a pretty bad team last week, and the Niners lost to an average or
the Ravens.
above average team. And the Ravens have lost too.
Correct.
They lost to the Colts.
Correct.
You know, good teams lose games. Am I saying the Lions are world beaters and they're the best team? No, but I think that teams lose games. I agree, this was bad. But I also think that this staff will totally make the adjustments. And I think if you play that game 10 times yesterday, if you were to play it again and again and again, that outcome might happen once or twice. And the Lions might lose half or over half of them. I don't think they're getting blown out in every facet of the game.
They're not.
Like
They were
did
yesterday.
They did 100%.
You
100%.
say that about Miami, but Miami went into Buffalo, lost by a pretty big margin, and then Buffalo went into New England and lost.
That's what I'm saying. Miami's.
Listen, I'm not saying that teams don't lose. I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I would have thought, even if they would have lost that game against Baltimore yesterday, I wouldn't give a fuck. I get it. But the problem is the way they lost. The way there was no adjustments. Well, what the fuck? This is what I'm talking about.
Defensively,
that to me,
defensively,
is a
I was
red
shocked.
flag.
I was shocked by the lack of adjustments in the second half defensively. I was shocked.
This is twice now that your defensive coordinator doesn't have any kind of fucking answer to stop what's there. Good teams stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't stop the bleeding. They didn't stop at the second half. They didn't stop at the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. They didn't stop the bleeding.
So my counter argument to that is 100%. You're correct. You're correct. My counter argument is, when they do things well and they do make all the stops defensively, and you got to remember the last couple weeks they held one team to 6
they were
points.
lights out. I get it.
They were great. So when they are well prepared and they do things well, they're doing it perfectly. So the counter argument to that was, this week they were probably only, the game planning was probably only focused on, you need to keep Lamar in the pocket and we need to let the rest trickle back and happen. And I think there is no adjustment for that unless you let them, you jam the receivers at the line. I think that's an option. But I'm with you. I agree 100%.
Listen, you keep
no adjustments were made.
Your defensive line, they keep their lanes.
Because
and
they
you
were
bring
made
pressure up
offensively.
the middle.
The adjustments were made offensively. I thought Ben Johnson, who had a horrible first half, I thought Ben Johnson
he was
had
awful
a serviceable
yesterday.
second
He
half.
was awful.
Okay. Going forward, right now, you guys both brought up the Brian Burns situation. The Lions are currently the third betting favorites to land Brian Burns at the deadline. Why are you shaking
Who are
your
1
head?
and 2? Who are 1 and 2?
I think there's a lot more issues than Brian Burns.
Buffalo and San Francisco are 1 and 2.
No chance on Buffalo and San Francisco.
Okay. They're currently second to land Mike Evans. Dallas is 1. Okay. And they're fourth for Cortland Sutton. I don't know if that interests anybody or not, but those are the current odds.
I think
land
Cortland
players.
Does that
Sutton's
interest you?
quietly had a good season. I think Cortland Sutton's quietly been very good, including yesterday in a win. When things are going good for Denver's offense, Cortland Sutton is one of the reasons why.
Right.
And that's been a dumpster fire of a year. As for the others, I don't know if I'm taking a flyer on Mike Evans' contract just for him to walk away. I still think there are other pass rushers outside of Brian Burns. There's one of Sweat or Chase Young.
Okay, they're in the betting odds for both of them. I think they were like 4 and 5 for both.
What about my
Montez
boy
Sweat?
Josh Uche at Michigan? Now that the Patriots are probably sellers, he'll cost a little bit more, but I think that's a great guy.
He's not elite. If you're going to get a guy, you want to get a guy that's productive, guy like Brian Burns.
I think you're trying to hit a home run, which I appreciate. But if you pair it, would you say Josh Uche is better than anyone else on the right side? They benched Charles Harris yesterday, which was shocking. They benched Charles Harris, healthy scratch, to see what the Okwaras can do. They did nothing. You know, who
I didn't see a Julian Okwara barely any.
He was supposed to be the high snap getter with Charles Harris.
I did not see him.
So
Romeo out there. I seen Josh Pascal out there. I didn't see him rotate.
wait, Pascal played yesterday?
Huh?
Josh Pascal played yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He didn't.
Yeah.
That's
He actually had a big tackle
he had
on him.
four
That's a red flag right there because he is a second rounder. I know he's been injured. I know he spent a lot of the year injured last year. And I know he was good against Kansas City and he hasn't played since then. But they need a lot out of Josh Pascal, especially
they
with
need
Houston.
a guy, a Brian Burns or somebody
What about
with
Chase
that
Young?
caliber.
What about
guy.
Chase Young?
Because if
Are there odds
or,
on Max Crosby?
or even Chase Young?
Are there Max Crosby odds?
Max Crosby ain't going nowhere. The Raiders
I
have
agree
not
with
even
you.
fucking talked about shopping him.
I agree
they
with
have.
you.
He's their best
They've
player.
talked about shopping him, but it'll cost
He's their best player.
He'll be the most expensive D end on the market in terms of compensation because he's under contract and he's productive. Are there odds on him or no?
I watched Myles Garrett single-handedly destroy fucking Indianapolis yesterday.
I agree, but players like Myles Garrett don't come around.
Okay, so
Oh, I agree.
So for the record, I'm looking for the odds still, but if you Google Max Crosby trade, the first 10 links are this. One Lions trade to take the defense to the next level. Max Crosby, that was 2 days ago. Lions have been advised to pull the trigger by ownership on trade for Max Crosby. There's a Cowboys one.
I don't believe that.
I do
Think so?
because he's local. He's local. If you admit you grew up a Lions fan and you went to Eastern Michigan, can you imagine having the pride of Eastern Michigan, the first one since Charlie Batch was here? Can you imagine bringing an Eagle back in and pairing him with Hutch, who played down the road over at the University of Michigan, and watching what those two boys could do together? The bookends. Either way, Hutchinson needs help. That's the gist. He can't do the whole thing himself, especially if that's your plan against running quarterbacks, is to keep him in the pocket.
Okay,
You need pressure on both ends.
Didn't mean to cut you off. They're second for Max Crosby, and they're also third for Michael Pittman. I don't know if that one interests either of you, but
I
don't know
like
how they're
Michael
shopping
Pittman. I
for
think he's a big
receivers.
receiver that can catch football.
I think the Colts would be crazy to trade Michael Pittman, which goes to show how much I would love to have him here.
Yeah.
they said that Crosby would fetch at least a first and a second.
Fuck that. There's no way I would give that up.
I don't see them paying that price.
I would not give that up.
I'd
That's
pay that.
crazy.
I'd pay the
Would
first
you give
and
up
second.
2 seconds?
Yes, I'd pay the first
I
and
don't think I
second
would
for
do
Pat
that.
Surtain. I'd pay that for Patrick Surtain, and that's a guy that they should
Listen,
be making phone calls.
if we're going to do this, I want to get a guy that's young, a guy like Brian Burns, who's young, that you can get without giving up a fucking first-round pick. You package
What makes you think that they would?
package JMO?
I think
Package
I
JMO.
think Brian Burns would be probably thirds. I think that he'd
I
be
would
like the
package
Hawkinson trade.
JMO in a pick and maybe a third
You
rounder.
shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to package a
I
player.
would
It'll be draft.
Give him
comp.
anything.
Why
just
don't you like
JMO
Max
straight
Crosby?
up?
Why don't you like Max Crosby?
What do you mean? I like Max
He's
Crosby.
26 years
I
old.
don't see the Raiders. I have never heard of them shopping Max Crosby.
Well, I'm
They-
telling
they
you,
have
it's
been.
I have
happening.
not
They have
heard
been.
that.
They have been. And can I tell you something right now? Everyone has a price. Everyone has a price, including me.
Listen, if this team was a player away, then I would say do it. But they're not. They're
Yeah,
more
but-
than that away.
God, that's such a bad
No.
take.
No,
That
they
is
got-
such
It's not a fucking bad take.
Yes, it is. Because
Tell me
what
that.
player
you
away
tell
are
me
they
right
then?
now they don't have a fucking running back that can run in between the tackles.
David Montgomery will be
He's
back
hurt.
in 2 weeks. He'll be back in 2 weeks. Even if you dump the next 2 games, who gives a shit?
It doesn't matter. He comes back. You know, he was healthy prior to this year. If he comes back and he's hurt again, he's
So what are you
fucking-
going to do? Waste draft capital because you
I
don't want
know,
you
dude.
want to risk
I
David
say you
Montgomery
go to the
possibly
street,
getting hurt
you
again?
go to the street. There's still running backs out there. There's still wide receivers out there that they could sign and bring in.
Great.
here.
So they bring in Leonard. You're saying like Leonard Fournette's the player away.
I would love to see Leonard Fournette run behind
But I
this
mean,
offensive line.
that's not-
That's
that's not-
doubted. That's so good.
If
What's
they
the
haven't taken a flyer on him, they should. By the way,
What's the trajectory of their season like changing? What makes
I'm
it-
gonna
it doesn't
tell you
make
right
any
let me
now-
stop you. Let me stop you. How many teams in the NFC do you think are better than the Lions?
At this point, 3.
Who's the third? Dallas?
Yeah. Go ahead and laugh. Laugh
No,
all you fucking want.
it's plausible. I won't argue it. Okay.
Yeah. Wait till
If
they
you're-
play head up.
Listen,
See what happens.
Listen, if you're a top 4 team in your conference,
Right.
you add. No matter what. Even if
You're
you're
what?
even if you're not a player or two away, even if you're more than a player or two away, you're adding to your roster because anything can happen.
Good teams add to their roster.
Wild card teams get in all the time. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals about their last 2 years.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you're fiending.
Out of those receivers that I named, Sutton, Mike Evans, and Pittman, who do you like the most?
Probably Pittman just because of the youth.
Okay,
In this offense, Mike Evans.
I agree with you. But so let's say they trade for Sutton and Brian Burns.
Well, are we talking for 1 year? Or are we talking from here for
no,
the next
anybody
year
that
or
they're
two?
trading for, they're gonna have to give some sort of a
No,
contract.
because Mike Evans will be a rental.
I don't think Mike Evans
I
would be
think
a
Mike
rental.
Evans is a rental because
Yes.
they're not going to pay. They still have to pay a Monra.
All right.
It depends where
Yeah.
JMO met land. You know that there's too many questions. But go ahead. Sorry.
Let's talk for this year. Okay? So for this year, who do you like at the deadline? Out of those receivers? Sutton, Pittman, and Evans.
I just told you Pittman.
Okay, Pittman. And obviously you like Brian Burns above any other defensive end option, right?
I like Brian Burns because he's a playmaker.
Okay.
And he's young.
That's it.
He's young. So this is going forward.
damn.
You can what?
I'm
What?
just trying to make a point here.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So hypothetically, let's say at the deadline they trade for Cortland Sutton and Brian Burns.
Yep.
That's a huge win at the deadline.
Cortland Sutton.
Or I mean, Michael
That's
Pittman,
fine.
Michael Pittman and Brian Burns.
Yeah, I think it makes him better.
Okay, what happens this year for them? Are they in the NFC? Are they competing with San Francisco or Philadelphia?
Start
with
at the
those two
bottom.
guys?
Start at the bottom. Are
No, I
they
don't
winning
think
the
so.
opening playoff game, which would be against the Rams, the Cowboys,
Or the Seahawks.
the Seahawks,
Or Tampa?
Correct.
or
Tampa.
they
Atlanta.
win that first playoff game at home if they add
Well,
those two guys.
I mean, I think it depends on who they're playing.
Okay,
You know, if they can get a home,
they're going
they
to
can
get a
get a-
home game. They're going to win the division and get a home game.
it's possible.
No, they're
they're
going to
gonna-
win
they're
the
gonna
How
win
good
division.
the
They're gonna
record
win the
is, it's
division.
possible.
They're
They're gonna
going to win the division. They're
Right.
going to finish in third place, and they're going
We're going to
get
host a
home.
wild card team.
I still think they're winning. I still think they're winning at least 12 games.
I think so too. That's the thing. It doesn't change anything. If they buy at the deadline or they stay exactly the way they are, they're still going to win 11 or 12 games. They're still going to win the division. They're still going to get a home playoff game. They will still win that home playoff game because it's going to be against Seattle or Atlanta or the
they
Rams.
can't even beat Seattle. I think you're counting your chickens before they're hatched.
If they play Seattle again, they would
I
beat them
love-
without question.
I would love to see them beat.
And then they'll have to go into Philadelphia or San Francisco and lose the next game, regardless of who they trade for at the deadline. They could bring Barry Sanders out of retirement at the deadline. That's still how the trajectory of the season. Unless there's a catastrophic injury. Other than that, that's why I don't there was a lot of talk about how the Lions need to be buyers at the deadline. At the end of the day, I don't think it changes anything for them. They are not. We can all sit here and agree right now. Okay, outside of you, because you think they'll lose to Seattle if they play them again, they're going to win 11 or 12 games. They will win the division. They will get a home playoff game that they will most likely win and then lose the divisional round. Correct?
That's about right.
I'm in on that.
Regardless of who's there. If they trade for Brian Burns and Michael
if
Pittman,
they don't have any kind of pulse for a running game, that's what'll happen.
Do you really think David Montgomery is going to be dead for the next month and a half?
No, I didn't say that.
I also think they're
I
playing
didn't say
some
that. I
really
said-
shitty opponents too coming.
yeah,
I said David.
Outside of the Chargers, I don't think any team is going to stop, no matter who the Lions are throwing out at running back. I don't think any of their next 4 opponents are going to stop them, except for maybe the Chargers. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was extremely effective yesterday.
Yeah, well, they have to play Chicago, at Chicago, in the cold, with a running back who already fisted him last year.
David Montgomery will be back for that
Who
one.
fisted him last year.
I'm not worried.
Remember that.
I'm not worried.
you're just-
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
I truly
you know
don't
what?
believe
You know what the worst part
Yeah,
about
the
you
Raiders
is?
weren't worried about that
You know what?
either.
You know what the worst part about you is?
Go ahead.
Truly, is you were so high, and then you see one thing, and then all of a sudden you're just the biggest fucking hater in the world. You're nothing but a fucking hater.
Watch the
That's
game.
the average Lions fan.
Yeah,
though.
What do you mean?
You are.
That's
What do you
how
mean?
it
You
is.
are.
That's
You
why
are.
it's
The other
crucial.
fair weather
nothing
fan.
but, yeah,
That's
you
why
are.
it's crucial.
A what?
I've been a Lions
Fair
fan
weather
for
fan.
2 years, and you're
I'm a
more
fair weather
weather
fan.
than I am.
Boy, I've been watching the
Yeah.
Lions play before you were in your
And you're
daddy's
still,
bag.
you're still a
Before you were in your
has-been.
dad's
Before I
bag.
was
You're
in my
washed
dad's
up.
bag.
You're a has-been, and you're fair weather. And that's me telling you you're fair
There's
weather.
no bigger bandwagon jumper than you.
Seems
So-
like we got another one.
In
now.
his defense, he echoes the like when losses like yesterday happen, he echoes the entire
It's
fan
not the
base.
loss. I told you guys, it's not
It's
the
the
loss.
way they
It's
lost.
the way they lost.
I think that's it, but there's
That's
teams
bullshit.
like are
That's
you gonna,
not bullshit.
are-
It's
Miami
you're gonna
lost
say-
to Buffalo
if
by
you're gonna
22 points.
If you're a Bills fan, are you going to say the same thing? And same drill on the Eagles last week. Like teams get blown out.
Do you think the Bills fans are fucking just rabid right now
I would be.
after
Yes,
that bullshit? Because they should have lost last week.
but
would
nobody thinks that the Bills are a write-off.
Yeah, but they're still in it.
Miami
Yeah.
lost to them by 3 touchdowns.
you know why?
Nobody
You know
thought
why
Miami
Buffalo's
was a
still in
write-off.
it? Because Miami lost last night.
Oh, Jesus. That's such bullshit.
Oh, whatever.
That's bullshit.
Whatever.
Because a week before, Buffalo looked like the world beaters.
Guess what? No, they didn't. They looked like they were going to lose that game too.
Listen to me.
They got lucky. They got bailed out on a fucking bullshit call at the end.
Listen. You're just a hater. That's all it is.
Dude, I'm a hater then.
That's all it comes down to. You just love to
I'm
hate.
a hater.
You just love to hate. We're in better position than all those teams.
Okay.
We're in a better position than Miami. We're in a better position than Buffalo.
Okay.
Realistically, we're in a better position than Baltimore. I mean, stop and think about who Baltimore has left to play.
Can I calm some of your concerns right now? Dan Campbell's press conference is going on at the moment, and he's used the phrase "we're going to be prepared for the Raiders this week." He's used that phrase multiple times over. He knows. They're well aware it was a lack of preparedness yesterday. I don't think it's any indication on the talent, anything like that. They just weren't prepared. And it happens in the NFL every week. There are teams that catch other teams unprepared that change the perspective result drastically. It happens. Sometimes there's blowouts like there is yesterday. Sometimes it's just really bad teams upsetting a good team. Either way, it's about preparedness because there's so many fucking variables that go into these games every week. And the Lions got out variabled by a lot. It was a chess game gone wrong. I'm with you. It's okay to raise some flags. As long as it's not a trend, it's not going to be a problem.
I'd say 2 games is a trend.
They lost to Seattle by a
those are
field
they're
goal.
2 playoff teams. They followed up Seattle with 4 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they go 12-5 or 13-4, no matter what, that's the best Lions team in my lifetime. And they're still
your
on pace for
lifetime.
that.
Can I ask you a question? You're so fucking high and mighty on the Rams and how they were going to have a comeback here in a playoff team. They got their asshole shoved in by Pittsburgh yesterday. By fucking Pittsburgh.
Did you watch the game?
Yes, I did. Cooper Kupp really showed out for him. Stafford
Are we
looked great.
moving on to that game?
No, we'll start at the top.
Okay.
Everybody just needs to relax.
Whatever.
Reel it in.
Moving on. Wow. Did we spend an hour? It was 52 minutes.
Yeah, basically.
I think the countdowns factored into this YouTube video.
It is.
Yeah.
It's only 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're only 45.
Yeah, and it took so a little less
Plus
'cause
the
of
news, so that's like 10 minutes. As well.
Yeah, okay. A half hour. Anyways, moving on. Las Vegas went into Chicago. Chicago without Justin Fields. Chicago with on their 4th string running back. And the Raiders without Jimmy Garoppolo, but ultimately Tyson Badgett, Deonta Foreman show up big for the Bears, and the Bears get the victory 30-12. Uncle Sam thinks very highly of Deonta Foreman, and he showed up in a way that he showed up in a Panthers uniform against Detroit last year. 3 touchdowns for him on the day. I keep saying Tyler Badgett. It's Tyson Badgett. 21-29 for 162 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's pretty fucking efficient. He didn't throw the ball away. Obviously, he can't do on the field what Justin Fields does, but realistically, it looked better yesterday for the Bears.
It looked solid. They were solid. That game was never in doubt.
Raiders had 2 quarterbacks play. Brian Hoyer, 17-32 for 129 yards with 2 picks. I think it's
He was god awful.
it's time for him to find his way into the home. Aiden O'Connell, 10 for 13 for 75 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Josh Jacobs, quite the game, 11 for 35. What's going on?
Their offensive line is atrocious.
Do they have the worst offensive line in football, right?
Maybe.
I mean, they've got to be pretty close, right?
Yeah. They're awful. Their offensive line is awful. I was watching that game yesterday, and I'm going to say this. I think it's a combination of play calling and just blocking in general. Josh Jacobs is a one-cut up the field in between a tackle runner. They were trying to run him outside. That's all coaching as far as I'm concerned. And I truly feel that Josh McDaniels should lose his fucking job because he's fucking trash, dude.
We agree.
He is fucking
Been
trash.
saying this for quite a while.
He's still number one, right? I mean, Brandon Staley's
put him
making the case.
Losing to a D2 quarterback who's quarterbacking a team that already only had one win. I think that
And
puts
it's not
you
just
back in
losing. They got
contention.
blown out.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
Chicago's not very good.
No, Chicago's awful. But I honestly
There was two blowouts yesterday, the Detroit game and that game.
Listen, the Raiders are deep into the depths of the Caleb Williams. That was the thing, and I said this before this week. Those 3 wins that the Raiders had were the most they were the worst 3-3 team. Those are the most bullshit 3 wins that they had. And I'm sorry, this touted defense had no answers for Deonta Foreman yesterday.
They lost Diablo
Don't.
yesterday too. That didn't help.
Who'd they lose? Who'd they lose?
Their middle linebacker Diablo. They lost him yesterday.
And
The Raiders.
you want to know what's real fucked up? When Jacoby Myers has more targets 2 weeks in a row than Devontae.
Yeah. Jacoby Myers has slowly emerged into a fantasy bloodbath.
Yeah.
He's
I will.
very good.
I will say this: Devontae Adams draws a lot of attention. He'll draw safety. He draws corners and
It's the
safety.
targets, though. They're just not. They're cutting Devontae Adams out of the offense accidentally.
Maybe they're doing that because they're going to trade him at the deadline.
He wants
Never
out.
know.
I'd like to see him as a Lion.
How would you like to see him
I
as
would
a
like that.
JETS
A Jet.
Jets?
Only when
Jets,
Aaron
Jets.
comes back.
Could you imagine they'd have Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, and Alan Lazard? That would be just
The prevailing theory right now is that they're not going to trade him.
really.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if I were him, I would say,
I would be like, get me the fuck out.
I would say 1 week from
I'd
now.
be like, if this
I'd
guy
better
is
be
coach here
traded.
next year, I don't want no part of it.
Just get me out.
Yeah.
I think they're a prime. It goes back to Caleb Williams real quick. I think that's a great spot for him. I think that's a really good franchise with a really good fan base, and it just so happens that in the end of the old man's life and then transitioning into his dumb son's life. By the way, Uncle Sam, did you see the video of him dancing, Mark Davis, when he owns the Las Vegas Aces and they won the WNBA last week, and he danced like it's the most cringeworthy thing I have ever seen.
Mark Davis is
Watching it.
I got it right here.
he's the absolute creepiest bastard I've ever seen. What are you showing me here?
That's Mark Davis dancing.
Yeah, he looks like Chucky.
No. Don't even look at his face, which is already bad.
He looks like Chucky. Yeah.
Oh, you know who's
Number one, he's white. Okay. And number two, I don't know where he got Don Johnson's fucking suit from Miami Vice.
Oh.
But he needs to. What?
so that's the WNBA team that he owns.
Whatever.
You know who he brought in as a co-owner because he wanted to get a ring?
I don't know.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady got another ring.
Anyway.
Anyways,
Whatever.
Moving on. And honestly, what I
He's a
thought
weirdo too.
And honestly, what I thought was one of my favorite games to watch this week, Cleveland went to Indianapolis and lost their quarterback, but snuck out with a win, 39-38. And sneak it was because guess what? Somebody on the Cleveland sideline had to have had a little something for those refs because this game was stolen from Indianapolis, in my opinion. And you want to know what's messed up? Indianapolis played such a good game. Like, it actually all... Gardner Minshew didn't look bad. Jonathan Taylor
Miles
actually...
Garrett was
does
a fucking monster.
Miles Garrett was the
single-handedly
Yeah.
won that game for Cleveland.
Yep. Josh Downs, big day, 5 receptions, 125 yards and a touchdown. Pittman, 2 for 83 and a touchdown. Zach Moss got in on the fun as well, 18 for 57.
Jonathan
Gardner
Taylor looked good.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, 18 for 75 and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew, 3 rushes, 29 yards and 2 touchdowns, as well as 15 for 23 for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air.
And he
Gardner
had 2
Minshew,
fumbles too, for
He had-
one for a touchdown.
Gardner Minshew had 3 fumbles and an interception.
Yeah.
I picked up in my 2 quarterback league. I made a huge boo boo, and I'm going to lose to the worst team in the league, and I'm upset about it. But I picked up Josh Downs, and I flip flopped him and dropped him to pick up not Michael Mayer. I can't remember who I re-picked up instead. And I also benched Baltimore's defense, which kind of went off in favor of Tampa's, which didn't go off. But Josh Downs coming out party is the gist I'm trying to get to right now.
Yeah, he had a very, very nice game yesterday, and he looked good.
All their receivers ate yesterday.
Yeah.
Pittman, Downs, they all had excellent games, and good for the rate.
Did you notice that offense moves pretty good with Minshew? I will say this, moves better with Minshew than it did with Richardson. The
one thing I noticed is that outside of Myles Garrett,
Minshew had 2 rushing touchdowns.
correct.
Yeah.
Outside of Myles Garrett, Cleveland's defense looks very porous yesterday.
I don't think they were at all. I thought they were very good.
They
were very good.
They gave up
Gave up
30 some
40
points
points.
though.
I still
What was
thought
it,
they
40?
were good.
38.
38.
Look, they're coming off of playing probably the toughest game they played all year. The week prior, when they upset San Francisco.
I think the bigger story is the Browns' offense.
Yeah,
doing,
their offense
doing what they did
bad.
without Deshaun Watson.
PJ Walker,
PJ
15
Walker
for
didn't look
32,
bad.
178
Yeah,
They
Not
yards.
at
looked
all.
great. I mean, Amari Cooper had his normal, good, solid game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
2 for 22.
Yeah. 2 big catches that won them the game.
2 for
right down the
22.
stretch.
8 targets, 2 receptions. That's a
Yeah.
big game.
Down
right?
the stretch, he made a big catch that kept that clock rolling so they could win that game.
That's
That's
can't you just own
that's
it?
called
please?
balls.
Can't you just own it? Like Amari Cooper's a
what?
fucking
Amari
dud.
Cooper is
He's a fucking
badass.
dud this
The
year.
week before, he was fucking money.
He had one good week this year.
Whatever.
He's been a dud. He was 2 for 22.
Amari Cooper's
Can I ask you a question?
top notch.
Who do you think had a better stat line yesterday? Alec Pierce or Amari Cooper?
I don't know.
Alec Pierce.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Kareem, you see, you
Guess
want
what? Alex Pierce didn't have fucking tug and rub throwing to him.
He had Gardner Minshew.
He's better than tug and rub.
He didn't have Tug and Rub either. Tug and Rub was in there for 6 passes.
I don't understand that. They said he was on a concussion protocol, but he cleared it. So he didn't play the rest of the game.
Kareem Hunt had 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford had a touchdown in this game.
He got hurt. Otherwise, he'd have had a huge game.
It seems like those guys, like this Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, Pierce, strong little combo, are almost getting them combined. All 3 of them combined are almost getting them back up to Nick Chubb performance.
And it's that defense that's holding them in this game.
And that's
Because they should have been blown out yesterday. If it wasn't for Myles Garrett, they would have been blown out.
Should we move on to the big pink dick in the room?
Go ahead.
The Buffalo Bills headed into Foxborough, and Belichick came out with his 300th win. New England coming out of absolutely nowhere, coming out from the depths of hell to beat Buffalo 29-25, saving Mac Jones's job, silencing the doubters. What happened?
Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne, 6 receptions, 63 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones, 25 for 30, 272 and 2 tuds. He had a QBR of 126. So not only did he have more yards, and
Mike Gesicki with the game winner.
Mike Gesicki
Right at the end. You know,
end of
Mac
the-
Jones had to drive him downfield to win that game. They were down.
Yeah. As far as the Bills go, Josh Allen, 27 to 41, 265, 2 tuds and a pick. James Cook, 13 for 56. Josh Allen had a touchdown on the ground as well. Dalton Kincaid, 8 for 75. Stephon Diggs, 6 for 58 and a touchdown. James Cook through the air, 3 for 46 and a touchdown for him as well. Gabe Davis took the week off. But
Blind squirrel.
Ezekiel Elliott scored a touchdown. Granted, his yardage totals he was 11 for 31, but he had a touchdown. And he did out-carry Ramondre Stevenson yesterday.
I don't understand that. Stevenson was playing that third down role, though.
Stevenson got
He caught a lot of passes.
Yeah,
in that
6
game.
receptions for 51 yards.
Yeah.
He caught all 6 of his targets.
Yep.
I mean,
They put it together. They put a solid performance together at home to beat a divisional opponent. So you got to give them all the credit in the world there.
so Buffalo
And
falls
they won it. Mac Jones won that game for them.
Hey, we had it, you and I.
Yeah, you did.
Well, we didn't have it, but we said that game would be
we
closer.
said they would cover, and I knew they were going to be tough at home.
Third time I'm going to say this today. story isn't the story isn't the Patriots on this one. It's the Bills, in my opinion. Bigger story
Yeah,
is the
because
Bills.
they laid an egg last week. They should have lost.
They done been laying eggs.
Yeah.
They've been laying a lot of
The
eggs.
third
at this
leg
point.
that they've laid this year.
Yeah, and I think that there's major issues with
Week
Josh
one
Allen.
against an Aaron Rodgers-less Jet team.
Bad.
They laid a fucking egg.
Bad. I don't think Jacksonville's world-beating good. I thought that can be considered an egg. Didn't Buffalo struggle last week with the Giants? If I
They
remember
should have lost that
correctly?
game
Should have
at
lost
the
that
end.
game. I think there's some real trickery going on in Buffalo there. And another thing we call before the season is that turn the pressure up a little bit there.
Yeah.
And if
you know
I
what's
were a
kind of
Bills
funny
fan,
is last week, that guy was face guarding the tight end in the end zone. They should have lost that game.
They got the call,
That should
at
have been a
least.
penalty.
yeah.
And yesterday, Mike Gesicki does the same play. Bill Belichick must have watched that play the week prior because there goes Gesicki in the same spot, except this time Gesicki catches it.
Okay, can I raise something right now?
Sure.
Because we were talking about this at work today. Much like the Lions, how I think we can all agree the Lions are still third or fourth. You say fourth in the AFC, NFC. Where do we put the Bills? Like what teams are actually in a playoff scenario better than the Bills?
I would put the Chiefs in front of the Bills. I
would
thought the Chiefs took a great step in the right direction yesterday. I think the Miami,
Even though Miami lost to them, I would put them in front of the Bills.
100%.
Agreed across the
100%.
board.
Yeah.
I'd have to think. I mean, is there a world? No, I'm not even gonna say it.
What?
Oh, we could put Jacksonville. In front of
Jacksonville,
them.
you can put
I
them
put
in front of them.
Jacksonville.
Put Jacksonville. And again, I don't think Jacksonville is that good. Is there a world where we can put the third team that they lost to in front of them, which is the Jets?
The Jets?
I would not put the Jets there. I'd put
There,
Baltimore.
done. Oh, Baltimore.
Baltimore?
So I have the Bills as the fifth, as 4 or 5.
Possibly.
4 or 5. Because
Possibly
on certain,
6.
on certain
Wait,
weeks,
hold on. I'm gonna do something crazy. Cleveland, I put the Browns over the Bills right now today. You back me up. Come on, back me up. Take
What's
the
that?
bait. Take the bait.
Cleveland
Take
over
the fucking
Buffalo.
bait. Take the bait. You don't have to take the bait. Bark for me though.
So I Jacksonville's the only one of me that's shaky, but definitively I have Kansas City, Miami,
I think the
and
Jets could
Baltimore
beat them again.
I don't think so.
All right, your asshole team's the Jets. Mine's the Browns. Who's your asshole team in the AFC over the Bills?
I don't. I can't. I mean, I'll say Cincinnati if you want me to
Yeah,
have an asshole.
fair, 100%.
All I know is this: he's throwing every day.
See, everybody, hold on.
Aaron
We're going to call a
Rodgers.
timeout. Everybody
Aaron
wants to talk about me being the bandwagon fan because I jumped from New England to Tampa and now I'm here. I'm home. I'm in Detroit. Him, last year was the Eagles. This year it's gangrene.
It's still the
Then he's
Eagles.
still got a little bit of Lions.
It's still the Eagles.
If it was a
I already picked the
Jets
Eagles to win
Eagles
the Super Bowl
if-
this year.
If it was a Jets Eagles Super Bowl, whose jersey are you wearing?
I don't know.
He'd smile. He wouldn't wear a jersey. He'd
That'd
just
be tough.
smile.
That's it. If it was a Jets
I don't
Eagles
wear
Super
jerseys.
Bowl,
Kelly
he'd be
Green
sitting
versus
there,
Gangrene.
Jets. If Kelly Green versus Gangrene, you're got the gangrene
Listen to
on.
me.
I guarantee
I'm
it.
going to be honest with you, dude. I'm a big fan of the Jets.
See, he jumped the band. He did it.
Listen,
I've been a
Don't sit here and
fan.
tell me I'm the
Since Mark
bandwagon.
Gastineau was
I've
playing.
said it since Hard Knocks. And I was really low on the Jets this year. I always thought they were going to be in third. I love their coach. I think they have a outstanding coach. I think the players play for the coach. I love what they have done this year without
Abu
Aaron
Bob.
Rodgers. I just think you're really, really reaching when you think Aaron Rodgers is going to be back by December.
Aaron Rodgers.
It's not going to happen.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
will
what the
definitely-
fuck?
Face phone.
Aaron Rodgers
Jesus.
will definitely be back.
I agree.
I truly believe that.
A little bit of breaking news before we move on to the Washington and Giant.
Sorry.
Are you good now?
No.
That was a fucking Bruce move.
This Godito dialing
No,
in,
he's
asking
always
where,
the one with the phone.
asking
Mr.
where the
Cat.
fucking Meow Mix is. What do you feed your cats?
Fancy feast. Oh, does one of them need to be picked up?
I don't know.
Is it Fancy Feast? Do you need to excuse yourself for a moment?
No.
Okay. Before we move on, I got a little bit of breaking news. The NFL has suspended Broncos safety Kareem Jackson for 4 games due to multiple unnecessary roughness
That is
penalties.
absolute fucking horseshit. That is
Do
absolute.
you mind turning your fucking shit on vibrate?
Ah,
Jesus, answer
trying.
it. Just answer it and talk to him.
Would you just shut up?
Is Godito in trouble?
I'm good.
Is there a cat in peril that you need to address?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real
moving.
quick,
ahead.
my girlfriend is asking what you feed your cats because she has a cat.
Sorry?
What do you feed your
What
cats?
food do you feed your cats?
Whatever they want.
You cook for the cats?
They tell you.
I know.
It's
My wife-
fancy feed?
They tell you we want
feeds the
beef
cat.
Wellington tonight. You don't know
that?
what she buys them. You don't know what food she's.
Loco likes beef sticks.
But Loco is Loco, so
Wait a second. Do you feed them like cat food or do you cook food?
Cat food.
So is it fancy feast?
No, my wife, she makes some food. Like Gatito, he likes what?
pate.
I just asked you if you feed them cat food or if you feed
Both.
them cook
Both.
them shit.
Both.
They don't have a brand of choice.
No.
Okay. Moving on. The New York Giants hosted the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium, and the Giants got their second win of the year, 14-7 over a Washington team that I really thought I thought they were going to do it. I thought they'd score that touchdown and tie this game up.
Did him and I both have this one, or was I the only one that had this one?
You were
that?
the only one who picked the New
How,
York
how about
Giants.
this? Is there a world? Is there a world where Aaron
Ron Rivera gets fired before everybody else?
where Daniel Jones? Well, I've already been high on that, but is there a world where Daniel Jones has to work really hard to get
beat
his
out
job
Tyrod?
back from Tyrod?
Tyrod yesterday, 18 for 29, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he looked fucking good.
I had
I'm not even gonna
Waller
say
on the
pretty
bench
good.
yesterday in that 2-quarterback league that I really needed to win in. I had Waller on the bench.
Darren Waller,
Or Michael Mayer.
7 for 98 and a touchdown. Jalen Hyatt got into the party, 2 for 75. He's quickly becoming one of the guys there. Well, the only guy there. Saquon Barkley, 21 for 77. He did fumble the ball once, but
You were the only one.
They're a different team with Barkley. You could see it right away.
I'm with you.
my God, what
I'm
the
with you.
fuck was Washington doing?
The theory is Andrew Thomas is coming back this week too.
That's huge for them.
Huge.
Absolutely huge. I couldn't believe that Washington, I don't understand how they can't just translate it because realistically, Sam Howell did not have a bad game.
They had a shot to win the game at the end too.
Because Sam
I was
Howell was
watching
running
the
for
red
his
zone.
life. that
Running
entire
for his
game.
Yeah, the in goal situation at the end of the game was so poor, and it was because he was running for his life against a really lackluster Giants front seven too. Outside of Okirky, I don't know what was going on, but the receivers who were decent yesterday couldn't get open, and he had a chance to convert to win the game, and he couldn't because he was running all over the place.
Yeah, Thibodeau, he dropped us for sure. Interception. He could have walked into the end zone with it.
Okay, because right now, Washington, honest to God, after watching 7 weeks of football, I think Washington has the worst red zone offense of any team I have seen. They just collapse.
What is
crazy
it though?
'cause they got
what,
weapons.
What do you think? It is?
I don't know. I think it's
They have no.
Okay. We can't say it's scheme because their offensive coordinator is coming from one of the best red zone offenses
Right,
ever,
right.
in Mahomes and them. I think Logan Thomas is an excellent pass catching tight
As
end.
do I.
Underused.
They've been doing a really other than Terry McLaurin, they do a really good job of utilizing Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson. I think they need to do more with Scary Terry. And I like how they use their running backs, and there should be enough scenarios in the red zone. You put them both on the field, they should be great. But I feel like they always have the wrong running back in on the red zone package. I feel like they don't utilize Brian Robinson nearly enough for how good he is.
I agree.
And Sam Howell can make the throw. I don't know. It's a great question because they have all the fix-ins. You know, they just don't have the dinner.
It's almost like
That was
they had their issues early in the season with their offensive coordinator. They didn't like him. They said he was working them too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's looked like it's starting to translate onto the field. There were some really bad calls in that game. Ron Rivera was on the sidelines and absolutely lost his mind on a couple of calls, especially a call to where they should have had a first down and they marked him short. It was awful. I don't know. Ron Rivera, I don't know what to say about him.
It's just bad.
Defensively, they should be a hell of a lot better than what they are. They've been awful the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I've been out on him. Again, it all goes back to that NFC South conversation and who the hell is going to come out there because I don't know how they beat the Falcons. That being said, I've been out on Ron Rivera since that Chicago game. I literally thought they choked away the Chicago game.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bad team.
Well,
And,
they choked this game away yesterday too.
Choked that one away yesterday too. And
that's a divisional game.
That's the coach.
Choke those away, you're in trouble.
That's the coach. They got a lot of pieces on defense. And they are not making anything with them.
I would love to have those two guys in the interior here.
Deron Payne and I'm having a moment. Who's the other guy?
Jonathan Allen.
Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, I mean, so same with Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
Yeah, they're all front four.
Their front seven is
Yeah.
all first-round picks.
3 out of the 4 of them.
Their
are
front
first round.
four are all first-round picks.
Next up, we had a.
Divisional game.
You missed your big.
I was letting Mike take this one.
Okay. The Atlanta Falcons headed to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa to play the Buccaneers. And would you look at that? The Atlanta Falcons sitting at 4-3 are first place in their division with Desmond Ritter at the helm.
You think it's going to hold on?
I
Right?
think it holds.
I don't.
think it holds on.
I don't. I still think it's Tampa or New Orleans. I just think that Desmond Ritter ain't it. Again, the fourth time today. The story here was more Tampa than it was Atlanta,
Yes,
in my opinion.
I agree.
They won with 13 points, if my math is correct, right?
It was
13 to 10?
16 to 13.
16 to 13.
It was tight.
You need to be better than 16 points, Desmond Ritter.
Baker threw an interception at the end of that game. That was awful. The guy jumped the route. Is what it is.
Go ahead,
Here.
speak.
Okay. Does anybody down here think, and it's a yes or no question, does anybody down here think Baker Mayfield is a good quality quarterback?
Yes.
No.
A good quarterback.
Yeah. Good.
He's good. He's good.
No. But
That's
I've seen worse quarterbacks
Yes,
than Baker Mayfield.
I have
in
But to be a
divisions.
good
There's one in
quarterback.
Chicago.
No,
Okay.
I don't think Baker Mayfield's good.
I don't think so
I think
either.
he's tough.
So when you rely on your quarterback, because we're going to talk about the exact same thing. Last year you had a good quarterback. And when you made him throw 42 times, it didn't work. Okay? What makes you think you're going to get rid of Tom Brady, bring in Baker Mayfield to essentially the same offense? He's going to throw 40 fucking times a game and it's going to work. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. The team can't run the ball. It's the exact same issue they had last year. They can't run the ball. They don't have a quality running back. They let Fournette go because they thought Rachaad White was the answer. He's not the fucking answer. And at the end of the day, they're not going to win games that way. They had 9 wins last year in the same offense with Tom Brady at the helm. It ain't going to happen. If there's one team that I know, it's this fucking fucked up Buccaneers team. It's a farce. I think they're still they're just not there. They're not there. On the other side of it, do I think Desmond Ritter is a good quarterback? No. But at the end of the day, this team went into Tampa, who we all think could be a playoff team, who we know has a pretty decent defensive line, and won this game on the ground without Bijan Robinson.
Look, that division, because their records are so bad and the teams are so bad and they all play each other, we said it a long time ago. They have the luxury of beating up on each other, and therefore it's going to come down to the last week of the season because these teams are going to beat one another and shock you, and then the next week they're going to take a shit against a really bad team. That's just how it's been. The Saints have done this. The Saints have lost a good game after losing after winning a bad one, and vice versa. They've won a bad. You know what I'm saying? The Bucs have done this.
Listen,
The Falcons have done this.
I'm riding the fucking Ritter train.
Should we all take a team?
I am riding the fucking Ritter train
I'll let
all
you
the way
pick.
into the playoffs.
He's Atlanta. I'll let you pick between the other two, and then I'll take the third one.
What do you mean?
Who's going to win the NFC South?
Who are you taking in the NFC South?
Who do I think is going to win it?
Who you taking?
Tampa.
Okay, so it seems I'm stuck with New Orleans, which is honestly fine because they've looked all around the best out of
I think it's a toss-up, really.
it's a toss up
No,
between
no, no,
the three.
no,
I do.
It's a toss between the three.
I think Atlanta's a step ahead, and I'm going to do this now because you're the first one to say one of these teams has to play a first-place schedule.
Mhm.
That is Tampa. Tampa going forward at Buffalo, at Houston,
Okay.
at home against Tennessee,
Okay.
at Frisco, at Indy. Those are their next 5.
So they're definitely going to lose probably 2 out of the 5.
I think they lose 4 of the next 5.
Okay.
2 of
fine.
those they'll lose for sure, but I don't know about the other ones.
At Buffalo,
How about my Saints? They're officially my New Orleans Saints.
your New Orleans Saints. They
I know the Lions are in there in December 3rd.
The Saints play at Indy,
Win,
at home against Chicago,
win,
at Minnesota,
win,
bye week,
win,
at Atlanta,
win,
at home against Detroit.
loss.
Okay? Now we're going to do my Atlanta Falcons. Hold on. My first place above 500 Atlanta. Same record as the Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons. Hold on. Here we go. At Tennessee.
Probably a win.
Loss.
They'll lose that.
Loss all day.
Oh, actually,
Tannehill's dead.
it's at Tennessee.
At Tennessee, and
I
Tannehill's dead.
got a weird feeling. Hold on.
I'm going to take
taking it back.
Tennessee in that
I
game.
got a weird feeling Mike Vrabel is not going to lose to one of his assistants. That's just my take on that one game.
Go ahead.
At Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
At home against Minnesota.
They can win that. I don't think they're going to.
At Arizona.
I'll give them the win for that one.
Bye week.
I'll give them the win for the bye week.
At home against NOLA.
Guess who?
New Orleans.
Loss.
Okay.
I'm going to say loss, yeah.
At the Jets.
Loss.
Loss. That's actually a tough schedule, low key. All bias aside.
Then,
Yeah.
okay, I will say this, though. They finished the year at home against Tampa, at Carolina, at home against Indy, at Chicago, at New Orleans.
Those could all be wins. Wait, they're at New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
Other than the at New Orleans, that's four. I could see 4 wins right there.
And, okay, if we look statistically here on these teams, Atlanta's currently 15th in passing yards. I don't know how. 8th in total rushing compared to
They were first last year.
So
New Orleans 12th and 22nd.
can we go back to Bijan real quick?
Yeah, we can. Sorry,
I
I
know
got
he was sick
I
yesterday.
got sidetracked. Go back. To
I know
the
he
game
was
back.
supposedly sick yesterday, but watching his usage go down is so alarming because Jahmyr Gibbs has not been utilized properly and was yesterday.
Yeah.
And they're always going to be tied together in history. And Bijan is really good. He's really, really good. And we saw it. We saw how good he was the first 2 weeks.
The
So
few plays he was out there was just a
decoy.
decoy play, but you could see he wasn't himself.
Fair.
Yeah.
But that doesn't negate what's been going on the past couple weeks with him. And I don't think he's the problem. I just think they have no clue what to do with him right now, which is crazy because I love their coach offensively. I think Art Smith knows.
Finally had a good game yesterday.
Algier 21 for 59.
But when you draft a running back at 6, you can't be sitting here saying Tyler Algier had a good game yesterday.
That is true.
I said finally had a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's good. Tyler Algier's great. He's a great compliment to Bijan. Totally different back. But you need more at some point. That's one of the reasons I'm really low on
Love to
Atlanta.
have him here.
He had
Go get him.
353 through the air. Drake London 6 for 54 through the air. Cordero Patterson 10 for 56 on the ground.
Here we go. The Joker.
The Joker's in the building. For Tampa, Rashad White 13 for 34. Mike Evans 6 for 82 and a touchdown. Godwin 6 for 66. Rashad White did have 6 receptions for 65 yards through the air. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting some of the. Okay, can I just point something out? All right, Desmond Ridder is he good? No, but he isn't bad. He's not bad right now. He's not bad. He's not bad.
You think he's better than Mayfield?
Depends on the week.
I think no.
They were balanced enough yesterday to keep the pass rush off Ritter.
Yes,
They
but
were
see,
balanced
that's-
enough yesterday.
If you remember when we were previewing this game, I said if Atlanta can find a way to find the balance between the run and the pass, and Ritter not out there throwing for 350 yards, so he's going to throw 3 picks, but they still effectively run the ball, they will win the game. They'll win. And I think they're starting to find that balance a little bit, and that makes me happy. Because if they're not good, it's just not a good look. Because I talked Atlanta up all offseason. I talked Desmond Ridder up. I thought I was dead. Moving on. The Pittsburgh Steelers headed to SoFi Stadium and play the Rams. And look at this. The Pittsburgh Steelers 4-2, second place in the AFC North.
You also had this game.
I did pick this game. The Rams ended up losing at home 24-17. Now,
do we think Pittsburgh's fixed, or was this just a case of their defense bludgeoning another offense and submitting them early in a game?
okay, what do we mean by fixed? I guess that's
How many points did the Steelers score?
It was a 24-17.
And how many of those points came from their offense?
I
I believe there was a pick 6 yesterday.
no, we had a
right.
Najee Harris rushing touchdown, Jalen Warren rushing touchdown, Kenny Pickett rushing touchdown. So 21.
But hold on now. Stafford got sacked, stripped. T.J. Watt picked up the ball and took it to the 5-yard line.
Okay.
Okay.
But I mean,
The first score was fucking right there for him.
You know where I want to see Pittsburgh look good?
Mayer, the kicker for the Rams, missed 2 field goals and an extra point.
Even though they've won 2 games in their division already, the area I want to see Pittsburgh look good is their division.
correct.
I want to see how they compare in the division. If you guys remember, I had Pittsburgh as the 7th team in the AFC because I said exclusively I think they're better than last year. And on top of that, Mike Tomlin never finishes below 500. He's 500 or better every
Yeah, but
time.
you said Kenny Pickett's dog shit.
I didn't say that at the beginning of the year. I thought he'd be good. Now I think he's dog shit, 100%.
Okay.
But I can't deny the 4-2. They're 5 wins away from. I think 9 wins could get you in the AFC,
It might.
and they're 5 wins
In the
away.
last spot.
So if you steal 2 or 3 more division games, we'll call it 2 because they've already won 2. They beat the Ravens, if I remember correctly, and they beat someone
Bengals.
else. They beat the Bengals. You won your 2. Win 2 more, and you're playing a second or third place schedule. There's a good chance they can win those 9 games, and I genuinely think. I've always been high on the AFC North.
They beat Cleveland and
They beat Cleveland. Okay. So I've always been high on the AFC North. And look at it. The Ravens look like the best team in the AFC at the moment. The Bengals are slowly emerging. I don't think they're great. They're emerging. The Browns caught everyone off guard and they're 4-2. And here are the Steelers at 4-2. They could shit. I mean, is there a chance they get all is it possible for them to get 4 teams in? Yeah, there is. It is possible for them to get 4 teams in. So there's a chance that my
2
prediction
wild
holds.
cards and 2. You got a divisional winner
And 3
They'd
wild
have to
cards.
have all 3
3
wild
wild cards. They have to
3
sweep the
wild-
wild cards.
I thought
But-
they added 1.
But think about it. Who's it going to be if Buffalo
they
takes a
added
shit?
wild cards.
It's 3. It's
3
7.
wild
It's 7 teams. 7 total teams.
I'm still sticking. I think Cleveland finishes last in this division right now. I'm still sticking with that.
They got the last place schedule though, and they're already 4-2, and they're doing it without a quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think again.
That's the top-rated defense in the NFL.
Who?
Cleveland.
They allowed 38 points yesterday.
They were top-rated
Gardner
defense
Minshew.
coming into yesterday's game.
To Gardner Minshew, they allowed 38 points. That's not. But I will agree with you. I think this game is more about the Rams than Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm with you because I thought the Rams were a dark horse candidate there for a second to get in the NFC, and now I don't.
Puka Nacua 8 for 154
They
yards.
struggled after. Well, I mean, Henderson's not in game shape. They tried to utilize him as much.
He had
as
a nice game, 18 for 61 and a touchdown. Royce
but
Freeman.
he's not in game shape. You can see it.
Can I just say while we're on this conversation on this topic, can I just say that I hate the Sean Payton fuckery with running backs, and I think
Sean
that
McVay?
Sean McVay, excuse
Yeah.
me, Sean McVay fuckery with running backs, and I think that sets them back. The
Yeah.
carousel
Yeah.
he does every week. If I were Cam Akers, I'd want to get the hell out of there if that's what was going on.
He is.
I think that's exactly what. was
Exactly.
going
That's
on.
why that's what I'm trying to say. What would you want to stay there?
Now,
and
if
deal
Cam
with
Akers
that?
doesn't play tonight, then what do you think?
And then that kid,
Cam Akers
yeah,
isn't going to play tonight.
I agree
Not?
with you.
I don't think so.
Why?
Well, no, I mean play, meaning like last week he had 4 rushes for.
That's what I'm saying.
5 yards.
Or is he going to even play this week?
No, I think Mattinson's still the guy there.
I don't see how.
But Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson combined for over 120 yards.
Okay.
Can't argue. It's not awful.
But that Zach Evans kind of popped off last week.
Yeah.
And then if you pop off one week and then lose your job to a guy that was sitting on the couch the next week, wouldn't you be pissed? You know? And Royce Freeman, same drill. Like, come on.
Did it make a whole lot of sense that Darrell Henderson wasn't on this team?
I will say this: Stafford was
14 for 29 for 231 yards, a touchdown and a pick.
he was getting absolutely ass hammered.
Steelers D, baby.
Yep.
But I mean, the real Puka Nacua comes back from the depths to have another
the ashes.
150-yard game.
Didn't matter because
Yeah.
I'm still going to lose.
I want to hate that guy so bad,
You
but
can't.
you can't. You can't deny it.
Tutu Atwell had a big 1 touchdown catch, targeted twice, 1 catch, 31 yards, touchdown.
He caught a pass. He caught a ball that wasn't even intended for him.
The
It was
catch.
intended for Cup, and he wound up catching it for a touchdown.
Cooper Kupp 2 for 29.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, that was his first game back. 5 receptions, 79 yards.
One
Not a
of
bad
the
day.
reasons Deontay Johnson will always be a good fantasy play is because he is a target monster.
Yeah.
He averages over five or more targets every day.
He had 6 targets in his first game back. George Pickens had 8, 5 receptions, 107 yards. Can't complain about that. Moving on. The Seattle Seahawks hosted the Arizona Cardinals. Seahawks came out on top 20-10.
They still had to work for it.
They had to work for it a little bit. You guys were both right on that one. Every time it seems like somebody plays Arizona, they do have to hustle a little bit, even though Arizona is 1-6.
Kyler's lurking. He's in the weeds.
Why do I see Clayton Tune on the stat sheet here for Arizona?
I don't know.
Do you know what a Clayton Tune is?
Yeah, I know
He was
who
the guy that was supposed to take the job from Josh Dobbs.
Yeah,
but
he
Josh
played at
Dobbs
the University of Houston.
How did I know you'd know who Clayton Tune was? One attempt, 1 completion, 4 yards for Clayton Tune.
He is the draft guru.
Geno Smith, I think he looked average at best yesterday. Realistic. Kenneth Walker looked really nice, 26 for 105. Jackson Smith and Jigba gets his first touchdown, 4 for 63.
And people were saying he was going to pop off soon.
Yeah,
Good for him.
especially with DK out yesterday. I think it was his time to shine. Jake Bobo, 4 for 61 and a
Can you
touchdown.
pull up his stats on the year?
Jake
His
Bobo.
touchdown was real
I think
nice.
he's got a touchdown in like every other game. I think he's got 3 or 4.
Let's
every
see.
year.
Jake Bobo. He has 2 touchdowns on the year.
Okay.
He scored against Carolina. He had 1 reception for 5 yards and a touchdown in that game. But last week against Cincinnati, he 2 receptions for 43 yards. So Jake Bobo quietly emerging as a possible flex ad there.
Threat.
As a threat, especially with DK out. Outside of that, does anybody have anything real to say about this game? I mean,
No.
oh, you want to talk about running back fuckery? The Cardinals.
DeMercado or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, everybody said that this was going to be the God. I'm blanking on his name right now. Who's the running?
James Conner.
No, Connor's on IR. It was
Chase Edmonds.
no, it's not Cavante. Whoever was supposed to be the guy there, they end up bringing this Imari DiMercato guy in. He was the guy yesterday. They've had
ripped
nothing.
off a huge run yesterday.
Yeah, it was. Arizona's just hard to watch right now. Point blank. Does Arizona finish with the worst record in football?
Looking that way.
I don't know. And if they do, I mean, they fought hard this year. The Panthers still got to win a game. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
What's more likely, Arizona winning another one or the Panthers winning one?
We went over the Panthers' schedule and we liked it. I think the Panthers are going to win a game eventually.
Anything to add on this one? Is Seattle for real, or do we still feel like they're a little bit fugazi?
Seattle's good against teams that now you got to understand something. They got punched in the mouth by the same team in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
The Rams too. The Rams punched them in the mouth, or was it the Rams or them? The Rams.
I
No,
think Seattle's still going to have a very good shot to
Yeah.
get in because they're always a well-coached, well-prepared team. Do they play to their opponents? Yeah. But they're never going to blow anyone out, and they won't get blown out. They're going to be in some close games, and they're going to play to their opponents, but they have enough pieces. They look
they have
good
to play
defensively.
Frisco again.
They have to play them again.
They have not played for.
They
They haven't played them yet,
all.
so they got to play Frisco twice. They still have to play the Rams again.
Hold on. They have a 4-game stretch that is Frisco, Dallas, Frisco, Philly.
Oh my God!
I think they could beat Dallas. I think they have a shot at Dallas. Is it home?
Okay. At home against Frisco, at Dallas, at Frisco,
That
at home
cha-
against Philly.
At Dallas changes things. But I think Seattle's actually pretty good. And I think they'll have a shot to get in. And same drill. The last team to get in, or the last 2 teams to get in, they're going to be 9 wins is probably all it's going to take.
Right.
Maybe 10. And I think Seattle can get there. You know, what do they have? 2 losses?
Yeah, they're 4-2. Their 2 losses right now are to Cincinnati and the Rams.
They got to play the Rams again.
Moving on, Green Bay headed to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. They ended up losing this game
Air high five.
19-17.
We had that one.
You guys, I did pick Green Bay in this one.
You guys do that again? See that air high five? There it is.
Anyways. Thoughts on this game? Russell Wilson, 20 for 29, 194 yards, a touchdown. Javonte Williams, 15 rushes for 82 yards. Cortland Sutton, 6 for 76 and a touchdown in this one. Is the story here Jordan Love? Is it?
Yeah, Jordan Love and the staff. I wasn't high on Jordan Love, but I thought the Packers would be very good this year, and I thought that he was going to end up being okay. I still think Jordan Love has a lot of potential. This isn't the regime I trust to unlock this potential at this point. I think we've seen about enough, and I wouldn't be shocked.
At what point does this guy's jobs start to get hot.
I think this year LaFleur's on the hot seat, 100%. 100%. They needed this. This was the risk that they took, knowing Aaron Rodgers was going to walk. This guy's had 2 or 3 years to get prepared, to be ready. He's not. They've added some pieces. They got him at wide receiver. They have a running game. They have pieces. Okay?
Yeah, what's his
They have
name went
pieces
down
defensively.
hurt again too.
Aaron
Watson.
Jones?
Oh, yeah,
Christian
I know.
Watson.
Christian Watson's just been that was my biggest dud draft pick.
And guess you know something. I want to say this. Say what you want to say about him, but Sean Payton has his team, I think, headed in the right direction.
I don't disagree.
I do.
He's not a bad coach.
No, he's
there
not.
might be Eagles.
He's an Eagle maniac and a weirdo.
And they have
but-
the points to go along with it. Like
Yeah.
Russ has been very serviceable, and it's just that it happens to be on national TV when they get embarrassed, and it causes a problem. Their defense has issues. I could see them being sellers. But there's a scenario where Russ works out for them next year because it's kind of working this year.
God, you're so right. You're so right. Next week, they're at home against Kansas City in the national televised game at 4:30.
Yeah.
Then they're on a bye. Then they're on Monday Night Football at Buffalo the week after.
Yeah, they're going to look like shit in both of those games. He's still serviceable, though, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Do I think he's a world beater? Hell no. Do I think if they bring in the right pieces next year and they buy into what Peyton does?
They need offensive line help so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
And they need the pass catchers outside of Cortland Sutton, because I swear to God, Cortland Sutton has been good for them this year.
Yeah.
They need the pass catchers to do something. Like we had the
Jerry
Jerry Jeudy
Jeudy,
talk
yeah.
a couple weeks ago. Jerry Jeudy fucking sucks.
Look at Javante yesterday. He had 80 yards with a garbage offensive line.
Yeah. And
mean,
that
come
Jaleel
on.
McLaughlin's ran really
5
well.
for 45 yesterday.
Yeah, that's not
That guy's
to carry.
explosive.
Those are 2 great pieces. You had an offensive line. You bring in a pass catcher.
They need.
It ain't
you know
going to
what they
happen
need?
this year, but
They need a good tight end, and
Yeah.
they just
totally with you.
they don't have it.
Totally with
They
you.
don't have
Because
it.
good Peyton offenses have always, like Jimmy Graham comes to
That
mind.
Dulich guy went on IR.
Dulcich got injured. He got injured again.
They had Troutman.
Dulcich, he's
Troutman's the backup
fucking
there, yeah.
trash.
Are we ready to move on from this one?
Yes.
Yep.
Next up, the Chargers headed to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. Taylor Swift was indeed in attendance. And what does that mean? That means Travis Kelce has one hell of a day. Travis Kelce, 12 for 179 and 1 touchdown. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 3 for 84 and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, 5 for 60 and a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, 4 for 28 and a touchdown through the air. He also had 13 for 32 on the ground. Mecole Hardman, in his first game back after leaving the Jets, he had a couple nice, I believe it was punt returns.
Yeah, it was
Punt return, kick return, one of the two. I was watching that one live. Mahomes, 32 for 42, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That was the Mahomes game that's the Mahomes stat line we've been
I've been
expecting.
bitching for weeks that they need to get this offense back on track, and this is how they win games. It's through the air. It's not on the ground. Good for you. You got a little bit of a rushing attack this year. This is how you're going to win the games. There's no better medicine than we need to get our offense back on track, quite like the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
And they took advantage of it perfectly. It was a shootout that we kind of expected in the first half, and then it just kind of leveled out. And
There were
tick-tock.
some very sketchy calls in that game too. So
Tick-tock on Brandon Staley.
do you got?
I think we're looking at it. What are they at? 2
Tick-tock.
wins? They 2 wins?
They are 2 and 4.
2 and 4.
Are we out on Justin Herbert?
No, I think he's a very serviceable top 12 quarterback in the league, but I don't think it's the steps can be taken any further under Staley.
I give Kansas City a lot of credit. You want to know why? I watched them do the same thing to Herbert yesterday.
Very good. Nice 8.
They were jumping routes big time on him. They were jumping routes huge on them.
How you beat
yesterday.
him?
Huh?
He's a guy. He's not an improviser. He's
No.
like Stafford. He's gonna go to his first read. He's not gonna do
Yeah.
check downs. So that's a way to beat a guy like that. Is you just get aggressive at the point of the receiver, and you're good to go.
They were mauling them guys off the line
Well,
of scrimmage.
I will say, when you hold Austin Eckler to 45 yards and 3.2 yards per carry,
Chiefs.
You know what?
game.
They really didn't. They
Your
really didn't
defense-
go to him.
well, he had 14 rushes.
Josh Kelly was playing more than he was.
Well, Josh Kelly had a big 50-yard run. He was 7 for 75. Eckler, 14 rushes, 45 yards. So he doubled Kelly's carries, but couldn't get
How
it
many
going.
passes did he catch?
Austin Eckler had 1 reception for 1 yard.
There you go. Where's Austin Eckler's game?
Well, I honestly,
That should be a 50-50 split.
But I was watching Austin Eckler play yesterday, and he was not healthy.
No, he's not.
He's not healthy.
He can't break any tackles right now. He's not there.
Josh Palmer stepping up in a big way after Mike Williams out. 5 receptions, 133 yards for him. Keenan Allen, 4 for 55. Gerald Everett had the touchdown with 26 yards receiving. When are they going to do? You got to make it. If you're the Chargers, you've got to make a change. There's too much talent.
And defensively, I actually thought the Chargers
it.
played pretty well defensively.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Like, there's too
outside the
much
big
talent.
plays that they let up.
They're just letting so much talent go to waste by not making a move there. But in a game with the exact same final score, but on Sunday night, the Philadelphia Eagles hosted the Miami Dolphins, and Philadelphia came on top 31-17. Uncle Sam was the lone Philly pick in this game. It was 17-17, what, into the fourth? Yeah, into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was close.
And I thought this was a really good game.
It was still, hold on. In fairness, it was considering what Miami's offense does in terms of yards per game and points per game. This was all Eagles.
All Eagles defense.
And then they just eventually
You're
were
seeing
able
what
to
the
weather.
Eagles did. They controlled the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They controlled the clock. That's how they eventually won this game.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
This is 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Are you still fuck you to the tush push
Yeah,
play?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
So Nick Sirianni
I don't care for it.
Nick Sirianni kind of finally spoke out about it last night, and he nailed it. He goes, if you don't like it, it's because you can't stop it. And if other teams would be doing it, and other teams have tried it, he goes, other teams would be doing it, but they can't do it like we can. And I think eventually you will see teams do it like them. I just
What
think
do
they're
you,
so
what do you
good at
think the
it.
key is to it?
Well, they have 2 absurdly good tackles. They have the best center in football.
I think you just hit the nail right on the head there.
What, Jason Kelsey? Yeah, it's totally a part
If
of
you
it.
watch what he does, he comes out in a 4-point,
Yeah,
and right after he snaps the ball, he's
yeah. So listen, in terms of getting hurt, which I
Hurts is on
know
his back.
I know that's your argument. In terms of getting hurt, they've run it 20 times this year. They've run that play 20 times this year. Last night they were 3 for 4 in converting on that play. And Nick Sirianni goes, "It's like we don't have 1st and 10, we have 1st and 9," which I love. That's a great comment.
yeah.
They never get injured when they run it. That's on the other teams if they're getting injured. They don't get injured. No one gets hurt. And, I mean, of course, Jalen Hurts is a little bit banged up, but he gets right up after those
It
plays.
wasn't because of that.
It's not because of that, no.
So can I give a stat on this game though, real quick? So over the last 10 years, do you know how many games there have been? So in 10 years, where there was 0 penalties called on a team
In 10 years?
in the last 10 years.
I have no idea.
There's been 17 games in the last 10 years where there were 0 penalties called on a team. That's less than 1%. Last night, Miami had 10 flags. Philadelphia had 0.
We talked about this before the show.
Yeah.
The officials were a big deal all day yesterday. This is probably the most prominent game. The one that stood out to me was someone got face masked on the 4th down.
It was the other wide receiver, number 11.
Not Robbie Chosen.
Having a moment. It was not Robbie Chose. Cedric Wilson.
There were totally some bad calls. There's a whole thread actually I saw on Twitter.
Yep,
of Fiverr.
I'm
There
looking
was
at it
a
right now.
shit ton of bad calls yesterday.
And that's not why the Dolphins lost. Of course, you want the calls, and of course, it makes a difference. But if you ask Mike McDaniels, he's going to tell you the reason we lost is because we weren't able to put up our typical 300-400 yards a game, and we weren't able to score more points, which is what they do best. They score points. So, but yeah, the officiating was totally poor, and the bigger story with the officiating is you don't want it to be a story. And it's been
Correct.
a story at certain points this year, including yesterday, and arguably the biggest game of the regular season to date.
Yesterday was the worst day that I can remember as far as bad officiating in just about every game that I've seen. That tells you just how bad it's starting to look. I just don't agree with a lot of the calls. I guess some of them you can say it's borderline, but I think some of them it needs to be. You got cameras everywhere. You're seeing what's going on. If something is not malicious and it's not, stop throwing the flag on it.
Well,
it's stupid. I watched Kristen Wilkins get a flag in that game yesterday.
The passer,
it was god fucking awful.
On Hurts.
They need to fuck off with that. That was awful. That gave Philly a first down. And it was
That altered
bullshit.
the game. That one altered the game, and the
It
face
altered
mask
the game.
on Cedric
And this is what
Wilson
I'm
altered
saying.
the
It wasn't just that game. It was every game that I watched. There was bad calls. The Denver game, the ejection of Kareem Jackson,
And now
was
4-game
was
suspension.
fucking ridiculous.
4-game suspension.
That was ridiculous. He led with his shoulder the way you're supposed to. They said he hit a defensive 6'5", 250-pound receiver. Give me a fucking break. The guy weighs 190 pounds. What are we doing? What are we turning this into?
Well, I'll say this much. So that's the longest player safety suspension since one of your favorite players of all time.
Vontez Perfect.
12 games to Vontez Perfect.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. The NFL needs to fuck off with these fucking pity-pat fucking fouls. It is getting ridiculous. You're costing some teams games, like Miami yesterday. Miami would have been in that game right to the end. And no, that fucking play extended a drive. That was bullshit.
The two that really stuck out to me was the one that roughing the passer call.
Yeah.
And that face mask. That was, I don't know how they missed that face mask.
That
was so blatant.
That was almost
blatant.
as bad
Yeah.
as watching what's his name from the Jets being held so fucking bad and Pat Mahomes running by him for 18 yards and a first down. I was like, what the dog
Catch your breath.
shit?
Catch your
Can
breath.
we?
Huh?
Catch your breath.
Can we?
You were going blue in the face there for a second.
No, I'm good.
Can we talk about the big thing here for me, for Miami? If they can't get that run game going just a little bit, it takes a
stalls the
lot
whole
of
thing.
air out of this offense.
Listen, it was real.
does.
You seen what happened yesterday. What dominated that game yesterday? The two inside guys for
The
Philadelphia.
D-line, yeah.
It is what it is. Jalen Carter was a fucking monster, and Jordan Davis was fucking unstoppable.
Fletcher Cox.
And they could not do anything with either one of those guys.
Didn't Fletcher Cox go out hurt in this game?
He went out banged up, but I believe he came back in afterwards. It didn't matter. You got these two young fucking monsters in the middle that people have to deal with, and it's going to be a handful for anybody.
So there's another stat from this game. So this was the first game for two wide receivers. Julio Jones, first game as an Eagle.
Okay.
And it was the first time that Chase Claypool was active for the Dolphins. Chase Claypool, unfortunately, didn't end up on the stat sheet, but Julio Jones did have one reception for 3 yards.
Why do you think Julio Jones is there?
Just another body. Just another.
Why would they sign Julio Jones? I don't.
Give him a ring. I don't know. Just another threat. I mean, another.
You know what it is?
possibility.
He's a big receiver that can block. And I think to get that running game going, you need guys that can block downfield. And I think that's why he's there.
Braxton Berrios quietly had himself a nice little game returning kicks.
Braxton
four for
Berrios
105.
is the best 5'11" receiver in the league.
Honey Nut Barrios.
Honey Nut Berria.
I'm sorry, 5'10". If he's that.
He's 5'7" on a good day. Tariq Hill, 11 for 88 and a touchdown. AJ Brown, 10 for 137 and a touchdown.
Is there anybody as good as that motherfucker tracking a ball downfield?
No.
It doesn't
AJ
seem
Brown
like it.
No.
tracks the ball better than any guy I've seen.
Tyreek Hill is the best little guy I've ever seen play wide receiver. Better than Antonio Brown.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that. He's the most
best little guy I've ever
explosive wide receiver I've ever seen.
You know one thing I've noticed?
Yeah.
Last year, Devontae Smith was such a huge part of this offense. And it seems like for some reason, he's just not getting the targets that he got anywhere close to last year.
They're struggling in general to balance the targets.
I agree with that.
Because Devontae Smith was doing good the first couple of weeks of the season, but they didn't look good. Number one, number two,
Right.
you were abandoning Hollywood Brown there. Is that Hollywood Brown?
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Who's Hollywood Brown? Marquise Brown.
Marquise Brown, correct.
And if the targets are there's a lot of guys to throw the ball to there, you know. And now you had Julio Jones. Dallas Goedert had a monster game yesterday. He did his best game.
Yes,
of
he
the season
did.
yesterday.
Real quick, Dallas Goedert did have his best game of the year yesterday. Dallas Goedert had 5 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown.
Shout out to President Baker. Yes, yesterday was National Tight Ends Day, so Goddard did show out. Mark Andrews did show out. Travis Kelce did show out.
He had a better 2 weeks ago. He had a better game, I think.
They all showed out though.
Oh,
Everyone was balling on a budget
The
yesterday.
last 2 weeks, Goddard's
Goddard's
been
had a
money
nice-
the last 2
Yeah,
weeks.
he's on a nice.
They're
run.
finally targeting him.
Last but not least, we got to talk about tonight's Monday night game. San Francisco is heading to Minneapolis to play Minnesota. We all picked this game on Friday's show, and we all agreed that San Francisco is going to take a
Bounce
W
back.
here. San Francisco 7-point favorite, over under a 43.5. Christian McCaffrey is playing in this.
Yeah, at Minnesota.
They're at Minnesota. The best bet of the week every week is always Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown scorer. So no matter what, go. Oh, you have
The streak is at 15 straight games.
I think it's at 16. I think
16 straight games.
Justin Jefferson was playing in this game. I would take Minnesota.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't. You'd still be wrong
How do you know?
because
I said that last week I said that the other day when we picked this. Justin Jefferson was playing in this game. I would take them to beat San Francisco.
and you'd
Still doesn't
still be wrong.
white bread throwing him the ball. So
White bread.
White bread.
White bread. Anything? Anybody have anything on this game? You want to throw anything in there, or I mean, is that pretty much all that needs to be said?
I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, McCaffrey plays, they'll win this game easy.
Debo is out.
Won't matter.
Trent Williams is questionable. Outside of that,
Is there a scenario to where the Vikings finally show up for a game?
I mean, they might show up, but they won't win. I don't
Maybe
think they'll win
show
or
up
cover.
and get lucky? I mean, look at New England yesterday.
No, that was San Francisco had their bump up game last week. In my opinion, I think this is a runaway for San Francisco.
Really?
tonight.
Yeah.
I think McCaffrey has 3
Look at,
touchdowns. tonight.
look at what happened to Detroit yesterday.
it'd
Yeah,
be
that was
awesome.
that.
to
That
see
was
San
their
Francisco fall.
dump game. That was what happened to San Francisco last week.
You think San Francisco have a dump game this week?
No, I thought Philadelphia would, and I was wrong there. So, ain't gonna happen with Frisco. Anyways, do we want to spend a second on Michigan State?
No, because there's some developments with Michigan that came in when
So
we started the
I was
show.
gonna say, should we wait till Wednesday on that?
Yeah, we can dedicate to actual time to it. And we'll talk about the whole Big Ten. Here, I'll give you the developments, and honestly, it doesn't mean much to me. The Connor Stallions or whatever his name is, there are 11 teams that turned over evidence of him. He was never at the games, which is, again, another instantly you pull a peg out of trying to leak it to Harbaugh. He personally would spend his own money on like StubHub or SeatGeek and buy tickets to see Big Ten teams play. And he would send people to the games, and they would record on their phones. There's video evidence of people with tickets that he bought, sitting in tickets that he bought, recording on their phones the sidelines. And again, like I could sit and watch YouTube. I can go pull up games on YouTube and pull up game film, and you could see hand signals that different teams do. And it's gonna be really hard to link it to Jim Harbaugh. And honestly, I don't think that those videos, those hours worth of videos of the
I'm sorry. This sounds weird, really fucking. So this asshole bought tickets for other people to go, and the other people were filming these? How the fuck does anybody find that out?
Yeah, because the teams are just
It almost sounds like to me this guy's a disgruntled employee.
the Connor Stallions.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing. This investigation was started and turned over a long time ago. Michigan didn't put him on leave until this week. So he's not coming out and saying these things. People have known about this for a long time. It was obvious. That's why the NCAA started an investigation.
This was going on for 3 years,
Yeah, supposedly.
and nobody did anything about it.
Well, that's the thing. You're not losing to Michigan, maybe in a close game, which they haven't played many close games. The one close game that they've played there's 2, but one of them that they've played over the last 2 games was Michigan State, and they lost it 2 years ago. There aren't many close games that Michigan plays in. Even the last 2 Ohio State wins, they soundly beat them both times, including last year on the road.
So what does this say? That they were trying to steal signs?
Well, everyone steals signs.
Who plays the same? Who uses the same signs every week?
That's another
I'm sure
thing.
these guys change them up every week.
That's another thing.
So what the fuck does that mean?
Michigan State was running their signs in for using the backup quarterback to run the signs in to Caden Hauser this weekend. And they lost by 49 points. The signs, even if you change the
Does it matter?
this year alone, every team that Michigan has played knows about the sign stealing thing and changed their signs the week before. It literally doesn't matter. It's I'll admit it. I'll admit it. It's
I
a
just
form
think
of
this
cheating
is like
if you're doing
apples
it.
and oranges. That it's just what comes of this?
So
What comes of this?
there's a precedent. There's a precedent. It's Baylor in 2014, and the staffer that was doing it ended up getting suspended for
2014.
a game.
Who was there?
It was Art Briles.
Huh?
It was Art Briles.
Who's that?
The coach at the time. Honestly, it may have been Matt Rule. Either way, Baylor
It
got
was,
caught
no?
doing this. In 20, I thought Matt Rule was a little bit after that because Matt Rule was in the.
What
Panthers
year
for,
was
like,
it?
2014 Baylor. I think it's Art Briles.
So what? This guy was doing the same thing. So what happened to him?
They got caught sending someone. he got
Art
suspended for
Briles
it.
was there.
He got. I'll read it right now. I can literally read the infraction for you right now. But almost nothing came of it. It's honest to God. I hate saying it because I sound like a Michigan fan. It's the same shit that happened to the Patriots. It's a fucking witch hunt.
Yeah.
It's
No,
people that.
no. Bill Belichick was taping walkthroughs.
And Jim Harbaugh's assistant clearly had someone taping people's. Clearly had someone taping people's games. It's the same thing. Do we really think the Patriots
It doesn't
got
matter because the games are on fucking TV the same week.
agreed?
So guess what? 80,000 people see the same thing fucking you do.
So the panel adopted the university's self-imposed penalties, including recruiting restrictions, a 1-game suspension for 2 of the assistant coaches, and a half-game suspension for the 3rd assistant coach. I mean,
That's what happened?
That's what happened to Baylor. I mean, I'm not going to argue that Michigan. I think Michigan did this. I think it's really hard and strategically hard to get it to go to Jim Harbaugh. I think it's going to be very
I don't know about that. I'm sure it didn't go to him anyway. I'm sure it went to the coordinator.
Exactly. So you're
that are
saying it
there.
didn't even get to Harbaugh. I think to link it to Jim Harbaugh is going to be extremely difficult to do. It's not going to be easy to
Right.
do that. There's a law now that says it doesn't matter, that the coach should know what's going on in his program. But if this there's a paper trail. The term that's being used is a paper trail. If this kid's spending his own money on this and he's not getting reimbursed by anyone in the university, it's going to be extremely hard to do anything about it. You suspend.
All
the
right, so he
staffer.
spent his own money on these tickets and sent these people there,
Yeah.
and there's no link to say, well, Michigan reimbursed this guy for that.
It's going to be.
But he
really
is a
hard.
staffer.
But he's a staffer.
What does that mean, staffer? What does he exactly
He's not
staff?
staff. His official title was recruiting analyst, but everyone, including in Schembechler Hall and everyone in the Big Ten, knew that this guy's job was to interpret the opposing team's signs, which is fucking genius. If you have a guy on staff that's dedicated to signs, because all of these coaches
They
are
do the
stealing
same.
signs.
Everybody does it.
And if you don't change your shit up every game, or if you don't go to a wristband with your quarterback, that's on you that your program isn't ready for the big league. Because everyone's doing this. Okay?
They've been doing it for decades.
Even if Michigan got caught, which they did. I believe they did this. I believe that this kid was getting...
Okay, so what happens from here on?
Okay, so
what do
the
you think happens?
The signs don't change. So this is the thing. There's been a witch hunt. I think he woke the NCAA with Burgergate. I think that caused a problem. And they got a microscope far up their ass that they're going to try and make something way bigger out of this than it actually
Correct.
is. Which would be a shame. You want to suspend Harbaugh for another game? Fine. I truly don't believe he knew about this guy sending people to games. I believe he knew that they were stealing signs because everyone does it. But I believe that Jim Harbaugh had no idea this guy was sending people to games. And even if he was...
He's kind of a weirdo anyway because he'll just deny it. How are you going to prove it?
Even if he was...
How do you prove it?
How do you prove it? How do I know other teams aren't sending guys to games and doing this? Like, you and I can go walk in, record a sideline, and say, hey, Michigan football, I'll sell you this fucking tape of Rutgers sideline if you want to see it. That's on Rutgers for not changing their signs. In the NFL, they change their fucking signs every week. They change their play calls every week. Every week this happens.
Almost looked like Baltimore knew everything Detroit was going to do.
In 2 different instances in the last 2 weeks, we saw it happen on Monday Night Football last week. They zoomed in on Mike McCarthy's play card, and you can see the plays. It happened to Sean Payton 2 weeks ago. What's the difference? Those are the plays. Those are the actual plays.
Yeah.
You know, where do you draw the line? That's my thing. If you want to say Michigan did it, agreed 100%. Where do you draw the line? Because everyone's doing this. So if there's a penalty,
How do you fucking stop it? Listen, all you got to do is pull up the fucking game. You could rewind the game on the Big Ten Network and watch the whole fucking game.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. And in the game film, there's when the coaches send the game film in all levels of football,
Correct.
including high. You're sending the all 22 game film. Okay, coaches send that to you. You can just look on the sideline the entire time, and you can get, depending where the signs are coming in from, you
Right.
can get a pretty good grasp. of what they're
Normally,
trying
they
to-
got like 3 or 4 guys out there fucking holding cards
giving
up,
the finger,
fucking
scratching under their armpits,
jerking them
slapping
off,
their head, their
like
faces.
Bruce.
Yeah.
This is called the double ender.
Yeah. If anything, I think Michigan is genius for bringing it. Like, this is what Jim Harbaugh has done since he got back to Michigan. He's made innovations left and right. Some of them have been banned, some haven't. But I think it's a genius that he
Satellite
brought in
cam.
someone from the Navy. He brought in a literal
That's who
naval
this guy
analyst.
is. Cheeseburger, whatever that guy's name
Not
is.
Cheeseburger. The Connor Stallions was
Stallions?
was a naval like his job is to interpret signs. Good for Michigan for doing that. For
Whatever.
getting ahead of
I think it's very anal at this point because everybody fucking does it.
Yeah.
It's like letting the ball air out of footballs. Everybody does it.
Because it's Michigan football, because it's Jim Harbaugh, because it's the number 2 team in the country, and because of what happened earlier this year at the NCAA, it's a bit of a witch hunt, and the media knows that they can talk about Michigan and prey on it, and they're just going to keep doing it. Every coach is stealing signs. It's just happening in Ann Arbor. It's not happening in Clemson,
Sure, it wasn't
South
Ryan
Carolina.
Day turning them in?
Ryan Day's on the list of coaches that have said something. 11 schools have said something.
That doesn't surprise
11
me.
schools have said
Got his
something.
fucking tank handed to him. 2
Yeah.
years straight.
Again, it's not Jim Harbaugh's fault. Your team is soft.
Well,
You know, and then conversely, if they're so good at stealing signs, why the fuck did they get shit pumped by TCU and Georgia? They had the signs for those
Right.
games. They couldn't do anything about it.
Right?
That's my opinion. In a close game, it makes a difference. Maybe it could come down to a play or two.
I agree.
But in games where you're getting blown out or they're blowing teams out, come on.
yeah, I think the signs are what caused Michigan to beat State this weekend 49-0
Yeah, I doubt
because of the
that.
signs.
I doubt that tremendously.
You know, there's another big piece of news from East Lansing this weekend.
Nazi Gate.
During the game, a Michigan State employee has now been suspended for being the one who was in charge of placing trivia questions on the scoreboard. And one of the answers to the trivia question was the country Austria. And they put a big picture of Adolf Hitler on the screen in the middle of the stadium as an answer to the trivia question.
Can I say something about Michigan State?
Yeah.
If the reports in the
Well,
last
he
hour,
was Austrian.
yeah, thank you.
No.
He was Austrian.
Yeah.
That's not the point. They put a big picture of Hitler on the scoreboard.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And what happened to this guy?
only
been
Michigan State.
suspended.
Jim Harbaugh stole the world by storm for half the week, and now we're talking about it again. But only Michigan State could drop the ball so hard and get the Harbaugh story to go away by doing something like this. And they released a really vague statement saying, we didn't know, we outsourced it to a third party.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, today they said we've suspended the staffers that are in the people who are in charge of it. Oh, so you knew actually someone involved with the university did do it? Regardless, they released the statement when they were down 42-0. It's just it was a lot of toughness there from the Spartan athletic department on Saturday. Unfortunately, it's a bad look.
They've had a rough run of it as of late.
It's been a tough decade. For
All
them.
topped off with Nazi Gate.
Yeah. In
Anyway.
fairness, I think Nazi Gate should be the last straw.
You would
mean,
hope.
that's
You would
just-
really hope.
That's just stupid. Whoever did that's a fucking idiot.
Especially
You know.
with the current state of affairs.
Well, I mean,
That's
it
the
would be
gist.
stupid to
Yeah,
do something.
That's the gist.
Why would you do something?
Why
like
put
that?
yourself in that?
Right.
In that.
I mean, not that it was a bad thing. I mean, Austria, he was Austrian. I get it. I get it. You know, some people might take that the wrong way. I
Could
wouldn't.
have put Arnold on there. He's from Austria too.
I'm sorry?
Could have put Arnold.
Yeah, he's Austrian too. My friend Mike Botch is
Not
also
fucking
Austrian.
Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Anyways, Zolo, anything to add before we end off this beautiful Monday?
No, it was a long one. We did good.
Yeah.
Solid 2 hours, I think.
We are at exactly 2 hours.
Well-
Uncle Sam, anything to add? Well, he
will
started
say
with a
this.
well. That
Leon's
means there's something to
ecstatic.
add. Yeah,
I will
well,
say this. I do have something to add. The NFL really needs to stop and take a hard look at what they're doing to their sport. They're making it's all about money, and they need to stop. They're going to turn your true fans against your sport, And I think your numbers have dropped. You guys know it. That's why you're trying to suck in teenage girls and little fucking kids to do it now. But
The
if
Swifties
you
are going to save
continue to
the
go
NFL.
down this road, you're going to lose your core fan base, and I don't think you want to do
The
that.
Swifties are coming for you. You know that, right? Are
Sorry?
your daughters
I can't
Swifties? Are any
wait
of your
till they-
daughters Swifties?
No.
Oh no.
No. So guess what? Stop the nonsense. It's stupid. Stop the nonsense. Let's just see football. We don't want to see all that other bullshit.
So I have one thing to add too before we leave. I agree with everything you said. I thought that was a great speech. The NFL is launching an investigations into the Falcons about their failure to disclose Bijan Robinson's illness on Saturday or Sunday morning. It seems that Atlanta will likely be punished or fined for not disclosing Bijan Robinson's illness to the Bucs and the rest of the league on an injury report. So,
Oh, come on, dude. What if he had the shits? Maybe he had the fucking trots, dude.
then they should have put
what
on
are we
there
doing?
Robinson, dysentery,
Pussy.
questionable.
Ah.
I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to check us out on YouTube and remember to subscribe. Join us in the comments. It's always a good time. Thank you so much for listening. You guys will hear from us on Wednesday.